Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Good morning. Great to be with you on this Monday. It's the 8th of September. A big hello to you wherever you may be listening on your local SEN Track dial or your RSN dial, wherever you may be listening on the RSN and SEN app. Massive show coming your way on this Monday morning as well. It's great to have your company. If you're watching live on the SEN stream, our Facebook page, and also our YouTube channel, Giddy Up, brought to you by Bet365. Massive show coming your way on a Monday. David Gately and Peter Anthony will join me to kick off the Monday breakdown as we look back at a magical meeting at Moonee Valley. So many highlights. The Moir was a beauty. It might not have been a vintage Moir, but boy, it was an entertaining one with a capacity field competing around the valley over the 1,000 metres. And the Warrior, the 7-year-old at his 12th start in Barrakill, getting the job done. He's now the second favourite for the Manikato, but I think Team Corstons and Bennett Racing are looking for a slot as well on the Everest. So we'll chat about that race. A couple of big performances as well. Love the performance of Chris Waller's horse, Angel Capital, who was sensational there in the Chautauqua Stakes. He made a big statement. The big question is now whether he goes towards the Manikato or the handicap over the 1,400 metres, the Sir Rupert Clark, and just in a couple of weeks' time, basically, there at Caulfield. And Rosberg, who was backed off the map having its first start in the Mackenzie Stakes, and he's now the favourite, would you believe, for the Coolmore Stakes. His trainer, Clinton McDonald, will join me a little later on. So we'll look back at Moonee Valley with Gator and Peter Anthony. It was also a big day in Sydney with the Chelmsford Stakes, a couple of beauties there regarding some cup trials and Sir Delius and also Vauban. Birdman was very good in the Chelmsford. We'll have a chat about the Concord Stakes. I think the Everest is starting to take shape now. Lady Shenandoah was so good behind Headwall, who looks like he might get an Everest slot now. And Jimmy Starr was an eye-catcher over the 1,000 metres. And Pericles delivered Godolphin, their first stakes winner after their new look training operation with no James Cummings now, and it was their first stakes winner since going ahead with a new group of trainers. So there's plenty to talk about. 0499 736 736 to join our conversation. We'll have the Monday means test with Wayne Hawkes as well. Chris Nelson, we'll look back at Brisbane on the weekend. We'll get Peter to have a look back at Belmont on the weekend as well. And Mitchie Lewis takes a look back at Morphettville. We'll also talk some harness racing. It was a magical night there at Menangle. It was one of the best nights, they tell me, the sport's had for quite some time with the running of the Eureka and also the Len Smith Moles. So we'll discuss all of that. We'll find you some winners with Bag of Tips just after 11 o'clock. Plus, we'll have the latest racing news from New Zealand. 6 minutes past 8. Let's get stuck into the Monday breakdown. This is Giddy Up this Monday morning.
On Giddy Up, it's time for the Melbourne Breakdown with David Gately.
Hello to you, Gator. Good morning.
And a very good morning to you, mate, and Peter, and punters. I wouldn't know where to start with this. You're mouth-watering with your little intro there. Do we start with Kaying Rising, who just clocks a 176, if you don't mind, on a wet track in second gear? Or do we start with a messy Moir, but some brilliant individual performances? Angel Capital continues the 4-year-old theme, as does Lady Shenandoah to some extent, moral beaten there. So
Yes.
Fabulous day's racing. Track played well, the Valley. Can't remember the wind was a factor though.
Yes.
I can't remember the last time we had 10 race card at the Valley and no winners led.
Pete Anthony joins us. You were there at Moonee Valley on Saturday, Pete. It was one of those days where you thought the wind might play a part, but it definitely did in the end.
And look, I've got to be honest, I didn't think it was playing as much of a part until I got my hands on the data. I think the race that confused me a little bit was the race that Rise to Wit won, because they was clearly going hammer and tong. But I think that wasn't necessarily down the back straight. A lot of those races that began over the 1,200, you've got your 1,200 to the 800 that's running straight into the wind, and that showed late. A lot of those horses just behind the speed that had the cover throughout were really able to finish off over the top of those leaders. It
is exciting. We're going to get into Moonee Valley in just a moment, but you got to just admire greatness what we saw there at Sha Tin last night. We'll talk to David Hayes a little later on in the show, but Kaying Rising, I was watching it with some friends there for Father's Day and some family, and it's just goosebumps type of stuff. I didn't have the volume on. I was just watching it from afar.
Pretty special, isn't it? You know, the more the seasons change, the more things stay the same up there with Zach Burton and Ka Ying Rising just destroying everyone. So looked fascinating to see how he goes in Australia.
Yep. Gator?
Yeah, look, I haven't seen this sort of sprinting excellence since Blake Cavier, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
How do you run time without any effort? It's like watching Kipchoge run.
Yes. And the question mark whether he could do it on a rain-affected track. It was raining during that race, and he did it easily with the big weight. So bring on the Everest a little later on. The highlight at Moonee Valley was the Group 1 Moir Stakes over the 1,000 metres, and this is what unfolded there on Saturday.
Oak Hill, Escher went to the front, Alabama Lass on the outside, immediately up to it, Arabian Summer back to the fence, and then came Barrakill. Alabama Lass, 100 metres to go, strikes the front, Barrakill bursting through, and Barrakill got the split at one from Alabama Lass, and also...
He's a 12-start 7-year-old now, and he brings up his 7th victory, and that was his Group 1 in the Moir Stakes. He's a resilient galloper, and as Troy Corstens has mentioned on a few occasions, he's a horse that has had to battle many an injury to get where he is today. The owners from Bennett Racing have persevered. They believed in this galloper, and they were rewarded there on Saturday. He's now the favourite or second favourite for the Manikato Stakes, and the team's also dreaming of hopefully getting into the Everest. This is what Troy Corstens had to say there on Correct Weight with the Noonan brothers yesterday on RSN and SEN Track.
Hopefully we can get a slot in the Everest. That would be really nice, I'd say. But definitely the Manikato, it's been we've had our eye on the price for a long time, and I think the 1,200 is going to, if anything, is going to be better for him.
So with the slot in the Everest, has there been any talk from slot holders this morning or yesterday? Have you had any interest?
Not yet. I think they'd be sitting back and having a really good look at the Concorde and the Moir yesterday, and there might be some action happening this week. I haven't heard anything yet, but hopefully it comes through.
So that was Troy Corstens. Will Larkin was also on the show yesterday and looked like he had, or sounded like he had a big night. And congratulations to Will with his first Group 1 victory in the Moir Stakes on Saturday. But Gator, it probably, as I said from the top, it wasn't a vintage Moir Stakes, but it was a fascinating one with a full field over the 1,000 metres. And as always, when you get a situation like that around the valley, you're going to have some runners that are unlucky. The pace was on, and in the end, Barrakill, he just found a way to win again.
Yeah, look, he did, and his record is phenomenal. You know, he used the word resilient. I think that's a really good word. So you're invited to the next Scrabble game we have. But I think he's better than that. I think he is resilient, that's factual, but I think he's just a really talented athlete as well. And he's been beaten once if you delete his straight track runs.
Yeah.
And that was on a mad speed around Cranbourne, was it? Then that $1 million race, and he got swooped late. He ran enormous that day. Every other race he hasn't run up the straight, he's won them. Now he's a Group 1 winner, of course. And you mentioned not a vintage here. I think that's sort of backed up by the hashtag data to some extent. Like, you'd put Imperatrice clearly ahead of this crop, and she would have beaten them, by about 5 lengths. But that wind factor, good 4 instead of a good 3. So comparing times is really treacherous, isn't it? But it's a bit of fun to do. But he did a really good job. He travelled okay. He got the gap at the right time, tight gap. Messy race. You can argue to the end of time who the best run in that race was. Was it Barrakill? Was it Alabama Lass? Was it Arabian Summer? Was it Golden Boom, who was wide? Was it Skybird? Or was it, even Neonce to some extent? So they've all gone enormous. Not much between them going into the race. Not much between them coming out of it.
I'll go to their beaten jockeys after the Moir before I get your comments on this race, Pete Anthony. This is the beaten jockeys after the Moir.
Jamie Mott, Midwest.
Yeah, look, he just had a lot of pressure today, and he might be better suited just coming back in grade.
Jamie Mellum, Escher.
Look, she was good, just too much pressure for the filly, both ends of the race.
Lockie Neindorf, Susway.
Barrier, look, the outside barrier was never going to be easy. We've got caught out on a limb, which was possibly always going to happen, and he's fought tenaciously. I tell you, if he draws a barrier in the Manikato, this horse, he'll serve it up to him.
Luke Curry, Cumin.
Yeah, he was okay. Was a bit wide from his draw. Finished off okay.
Luke Nolan, Rothfire.
He was sound. We ended up with a lovely run first part, and then luck evaded us late. We just didn't get a lot of room to gallop home, so he was good and sound.
Blake Shen, Oak Hill.
Look, he went super. We couldn't go the speed early, rode for luck, never got it, but, he went well.
Geordie Childs, Nyons.
Yeah, she went well enough. Just probably the barrier didn't help us. We had to go back to find some cover and make a wide run, but she's ran really well.
Luke Cartwright, Ladderada.
Yeah, look, she copped a lot of bumps in what was visualised a messy race, but look, to be honest, I thought she's done well enough to hold her weight, and we all know she's better over suitable distance, so I thought she's done well enough from how she went.
Ryan Maloney, Golden Boom.
Look, I think he ran a career PB. I think the barrier was detrimental in his defeat. Just when the wobble, just about the 600, Craig was able to get out and shunt me out, and he just lost quite a bit of momentum, picked himself up again and copped a little bit more interference, but hopefully he gets down the straight, because I reckon he'd be a great straight horse.
Justin Huxtable, Payline.
Yeah, look, he was nothing short of super. He's thrived ever since he's been down here. He's just really mentally turned into this greater horse. I think, like, he's really grown up, and he deserves to be down south at this time of the year.
Harry Coffey, Arabian Summer.
Yeah, she was super. Ran her guts out, tried hard, probably just beaten by two better horses, but maybe she would like it soft, but you don't always get what you want, so she was super.
John Allen, Skybird.
Look, just we were all dressed up nowhere to go, unfortunately. She felt like she had plenty to give, but we never got any room in the home stretch.
Craig Williams, Alabama Lass.
Yeah, she was great. To see her now from the autumn to the spring, she was just a little bit too fresh, too keen, and she just really wanted to get overdone with a little bit quick, and she was just a little bit vulnerable late. Nothing from the winner. He's a really good horse here. He's had the one run. We haven't had the run under her belt, so I'm looking forward to really bouncing off. And most importantly, it gives her trainer Ken Kelso an option, because she handled Moonee Valley really well about where he might want to go next run.
So that was Craig Williams talking about Alabama Lass, and looks like she'll head to the Manikato now, Pete.
Okay.
First of all, Barrakill. What did you make of his performance?
Well, I mean, he still had excuses. I still don't know where to look at the 200, and I've seen the replay 15 times. He's only going to improve over 1,200, though, isn't he?
Yes, he's going to be a better horse over 1,200 metres, and I think the team, they say he's got some fitness to come as well, and I think at the start of their campaign they would have said that they would be a better chance in a Manikato than a Moya. So he's exceeded expectations with his 2 victories, I reckon, over the 1,000 metres. The question I ask you, Gator, would you prefer Skybird or Barrakill, or Alabama Lass for that matter, going into a Manikato?
Yeah, look, it's a great question. I mean, John Allen summed up Skybird really well. We will never know. So we could live to be 5 million years old, us three, and all the punters out there, and we'll still never know if she would have won, but she looked to have a lot to give. So it's a question without an answer. Barrakill, look, he overcame difficulties. He beat Alabama Lass. I think Craig Williams' point's really salient, though. She did race keenly the first half. She raced fresh and still hit the front, looked the winner. Look, I had real trouble. I was oscillating between those two all week, and just went the wrong way, and a shock to no one. But the winner was a bit too good. So, look, I don't know, to answer your question. I think the cliche, if you like, of winners win, sort of sticks in my head a little bit. So maybe Barrakill, but not much between the three of them, obviously.
Any improvement from the yard, Pete, that you saw?
Definitely for Barrakill, but more so for Alabama Lass. I was actually surprised by how much condition she had to come. So I thought she might have been a little bit more forward based on how I saw her at Flemington, but I guess that was the end of one prep and this is the start of another. So, look, they've both got a fair bit of improvement to come.
She's probably a little stiff, Alabama Lass, because the last 2 years, Trackside New Zealand have had a slot for the Everest, and they've used that with I Wish I Win. Based in New Zealand, they look after New Zealand bred horses or trained horses, but unfortunately now they've given that back to Inglis. And I've got some news. Well, I'm guessing a little bit regarding a few of the slots for the Everest, but I think it'll be interesting over the next couple of weeks. Gator, the Manikato, well done to Moonee Valley for moving the Manikato to grand final leave, because it is going to be a beauty in a few weeks' time. Lady Shenandoah $3 after watching her in the Concord on the weekend. Barrakill $4.50. I reckon Angel Capital is more likely to go to a Sir Rupert Clarke than a Manikato. He's at $6. War Machines had a slight setback beating Haystolders the other day, but he could be ready. He's at $6. Magic Time's there at $7. Skybird will be there at $7, along with Alabama Lass at $11. Who would be your pick there?
Yeah, look, I'll do that race as we get closer, if that's okay.
Yes.
with you. I mean, I get them wrong 2 days out. So.
But what'd you make of Lady Shenandoah? Would they be scared of her?
Oh, she was the run of the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, in my very humble opinion. I don't put winners in my run of the day poll, losers, sorry, because people don't vote for them.
No.
But she, in my opinion, she was the run of the weekend.
Okay.
She was absolutely outstanding. I don't know. She wasn't even clear till the 100 and still nearly won it. So wherever she goes, she's one I want to be on. So if she heads to the Manikato, she's my pony. And I think you're 100% right. You know, it just shows you what we can achieve racing if we all work together, right?
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's just, and the Sir Rupert Clark's another perfect example, moving that race to where it is on Saturday week. It is going to be some race to lead up to the Toorak. And we're talking about the weights already for the Sir Rupert Clark. I can't recall that for a long time. So, yeah, you're right there, Gator. Lady Shenandoah's been working the Melbourne way of going a few times in Sydney of recent times, and James McDonald has been booked for her on grand final eve. We'll take a break. On the other side of it, we'll talk about this first starter. They've got everybody talking, not just at Moonee Valley, but right across the country. A horse by the name of Rothfire, who dominated a Mackenzie Stakes for Clinton McDonald.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Point of the corner, 200 metres to go. It's Bakash, a length and a half. To Beska, Rosberg's got out. Stay Cosmic back to the inside. Bakash, 100 metres to go. Now Rosberg's letting down Stay Cosmic the inside. Rosberg over the top on debut. Makes a statement. Rosberg a half. Stay Cosmic.
It was
Bakash,
a brilliant performance there by Rosberg on debut. Clint McDonald will join us. Is he ready to go? Clint McDonald's about to join us now after the performance there of Rosberg on Saturday. And everybody talking because Clint was bullish about his chances when he joined us on Thursday for Giddy Up Stable Mail. The money came for him and he was right again. Good morning, Clint. Congratulations.
Thanks, Gareth, and good morning to you.
How did he pull up?
Yeah, he's pulled up terrific, the horse. I ate up over the weekend, tried up sound yesterday morning, and we just had a little treadmill session this morning, and he's as bright as a button.
So you obviously had a big opinion of him. You went into that contest confident. How were you feeling during the race then and just before the race regarding this horse that you've got so much time for?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You can think all you like when you're at home and you're on your own little dunhill and you're working your own horses, and but once you get to the races, nerves set in, and you're hoping that you've made the right decision with the horse. And it was a big ask for him to go and race against those sort of seasoned 3-year-olds. Yes, they're probably not the top tier, but for him to do that at his first start and not really knowing about racing and having that race start under his belt, I thought it was a terrific effort, and he's only going to improve tenfold on that.
What impressed you the most about that performance there on Saturday?
I think if you watched him, the way that he travelled, he was the last horse to come off the bridle. And for an unraced horse to do that sort of shows what ability the horse has got. You had sort of fit horses around him. The Cash is a good fast horse. You had Mick Price's horses that have been running well. And for him to be the only horse travelling coming to the turn and not knowing what he's doing, I thought that was the most impressive part. And then to sort of push out in the last 50 metres once he balanced up, I thought he was really good through the line.
What do the jockeys tell you about him? How good is he?
They say, Ben and Jamie, Ben I think is one of the best judges going around, and he's got him up there in the top bracket of horses he's sat on. So for him to say that, it's a good report, isn't it? And it is. Potentially, as I've said all the way along, he does things that only the real elite horses do, and he does it with ease. Hopefully he just keeps going forward and keeps improving, and we can get to the Coolmore. He's
now the favourite for the Coolmore with Bet365 at $7.
Yeah, it's probably an overreaction, but at the end of the day, that's what odds they put up. So, I think if he wins the next start, the Danehill, well, then he's probably a deserved favourite. It's hard to get a line through all the 3-year-olds at the moment, but I know our horse is going to be fit and well, and we believe in the horse, and if he does everything right, he'll be very hard to beat.
So how many more starts before the Coolmore?
He only has one more start. Yep. He runs in the Danehill, so it's about a month to that race and then a month to the Coolmore, so it's perfect for him.
It was probably a mixed day for you in a way. You're the high there of seeing what Rosberg did, and then just half an hour before that, you watched what Angel Capital did as well. What'd you make of his performance?
Yeah, it was mixed emotions for Angel Capital, but at the end of the day, the punt always makes you happy if you've got the multi. So I got over it pretty quick.
Yeah, and we appreciate you. The $100 staking plan straight up, all up Angel Capital into Rosberg. Thanks, mate. Is Angel Capital about a 1,400 or 1,200 metre horse? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where we always discussed it, Ben and I. He's so electric over the sprint trips with a fast tempo. I think the main thing with that horse is as long as it's a strong tempo, then he's able to really be electric late. And we said it all the way through. He's a top colt. He's a Group 1 colt, and the other world's his oyster.
Can White Hot Mama win today in the first at Tatura?
She's a tough little thing. She's probably an each-way chance, I would say, but whatever she does today should improve.
And can Star Patrol win first up at Flemington on Saturday in the Bobby Lewis?
Star Patrol's going well, but he's been a long time off the scene. So, he's probably going to be a little bit ring rusty, but whatever he does on Saturday, he'll definitely improve.
Well done on the weekend, mate. You're still counting the cash, they tell me. Congratulations. And there's nothing better than backing one at its first start off the mat, would you believe, in a listed race at the start of the carnival. So we salute you, Clint McDonald. The legend grows.
Gareth.
Thanks, mate.
All the
There's
best.
Clinton McDonald. We'll take the news. We'll come back and discuss Rosberg and Angel Capital there from Saturday's Moonee Valley meeting straight after the news. This is Giddy Up this Monday morning.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. Erin Patterson will today learn her fate after being found guilty of triple murder over a mushroom lunch that killed 3 family members. A new aviation consumer protection scheme is being considered that would set minimum standards for compensation for delayed or cancelled flights. A study by Safe Will shows younger Aussies are 4 times more likely to rely on an inheritance to buy a home than older generations. And from 10 this morning, Crows and Hawks members will be lining up for tickets to Friday night's semi-final, which of course you can hear live on SEN. Coming up, SEN Sport. Tennis first, Carlos Alcaraz has claimed his 6th major title, winning the US Open this morning, the second time he's taken the Flushing Meadows Trophy. The Spaniard downing Yannick Sinner 3-1. Staying in the US, the NFL season is underway. The Eagles, Chargers, the Colts, Steelers and Jaguars among the winners so far this morning.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Great to have your company wherever you may be listening on your local SEN track or RSN dial. The performance of the week, let us know, 0499 736 736, 0499 736 736. And the best text message today will win a $100 Ribera's voucher, the great seafood restaurant there in Port Melbourne, or South Melbourne, I should say. Or it's in Port Melbourne, isn't it, Ribera's? Just around the corner from South Melbourne. So send in your performance of the week, 0499 736 736. Hey, Gate, it was great to catch up with Clinton McDonald. What did you make of the performance of Rosberg there on Saturday?
Yeah, firstly, it was a terrific chat. Geez, you're good at your job, aren't you? Quick fire questions, get all the information out. And for those missing Michael Felgate, just calling the horse the wrong name, Rothfire was
yes,
just channeling your inner Felgate there. Just
I love Felgate. I can't. As soon as I said it, the text message line lit up, and we forgot. Do you know what? We forgot to ask about Rothfire. He didn't have much luck there on Saturday as well.
No, he didn't have much go right, did he, the old boy? But he was one of many forgive file runners in that race.
Anyway, what did you make of Rosberg?
So, look, it was a great chat, in all seriousness. What I took out of it from a punting perspective was, what was his recovery like? So, you know, he's obviously shown them immense talent leading into that race, or you wouldn't, A, start in there, and then B, spruik him, as is immoral.
Yes.
So, hat tip there. The horse wins well. I had exactly the same notes as Clinton. Last horse off the bit, travelled sweetly. Good, strong athlete, absorbs pressure, but the last 100 really strong. You know, some substance on the clock. He ran similar time rating in the race anyway to Alpha Sophie. Angel Capital had both those 3-year-olds covered, but you'd expect that. You know, he's a borderline Group 1 4-year-old. So a lot to like, but the recovery is the key. So good athletes will recover quick and bounce into the next contest. So to hear Clinton say that, I think that's the thing I took out of it going forward.
Did we learn anything, Pete, when you get a stable like Clinton McDonald, when they back one, they really miss? And it's a tough ask. A lot of people say, like, how can this horse be this price in a listed race? But he was right. I guess from that perspective, you do have to respect certain stables when the money's on, Pete.
Yeah, exactly right. And look, he was very good. Just looking at him parade, just in the back ring there, look, as soon as he just emerged, you just looked at him compared with his other rivals there, and no offence to any of those horses, but he's just a much nicer, more athletic, well-built colt.
Yeah.
And when this is that time of year where you can just see one that just emerges out of the stables and you just go, oh.
Did he have an aura about him?
He had the aura, and then you just look over to the side, you see Clint just staring at him, just eyeball, making sure he's just doing everything right in the back parade. And then as he went out onto the track, Clint just, lit up a cigarette there. And he was already in the winner's circle. One of the strappers came over, and I just had eyes on Clint the whole race. It was fantastic viewing. You don't get that at home.
No, great vision there on racing.com. They did a wonderful job with the coverage along with Channel 7, but the footage of Clint watching that race with Shane McGrath is what racing's all about, if you ask me. And then Angel Capital was, and you could hear it in Clint's voice, you can still hear the disappointment after losing that horse, but he understands that's the business he's in. And Angel Capital, to do what he did there, Pete, first of all, what did he look like in the yard? Because it's been a while since we had seen him at the races.
Yeah, he surprisingly has a fair bit of improvement to come.
Okay.
And there was just, looking at the numbers, there's a significant slowdown from the 400 to the 200. And he's just completely exploded late regardless. He's in for a frightening preparation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an outstanding first start performance.
Does he give you Phil Gator as a sprinter that can win a Group 1 like a Manicato, or does he give you a feeling that he'll be awfully hard to beat at the bottom of the weights and it's a Rupert Clark stepping up to the 1400?
Yeah, good question. What he's proven in his short career today, his profile looks to be absolutely dynamite, fresh. Less dynamic after that, but still really, really good. But he's still improving. The short preparations he's had, short campaign, so that tells you a lot. But that was one of the wins of the day, I thought, on the weekend, and was well supported by the voting on Twitter. And I think almost one in two voted for him as the winner of the weekend. So a lot of substance on the clock for him, as Pete sort of touched on there. He's run 198, 12 lengths above all averages, and that was often just an even speed as well. So big, strong last 400, last 200, 11.33. Outstanding. To answer your question, I look, anything 12 to 1400, he'd be right at the top of my thinking, especially if he's fitting this new season 4-year-old profile, which is seems to be a great way to be winning on the punt.
And you got that right too, Gator. You were all over Angel Capital there on Thursday's Giddy Up's Gator's game plan and on the Melbourne Form panel. But did he exceed your expectations with the way that he did it there on Saturday?
Yeah, he did. He won better, than I thought he would. He was terrific, and he beat good horses. Compelling Truth. He's no slouch, nor is Zeus Sensational. Plenty went wrong for that horse. So. Lot to like a lot to like Flock. He's just got to sustain the campaign now, and now he's a bit more mature and stronger. And look, Pete will probably tell you this. I mean, I'm no mounting yard expert, and I wasn't even in there. But all reports were he looked $1,000,000.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always an athletic type. He's just one of those horses where sometimes his attitude can get the best of him. He can almost just get a little bit above himself, but I mean, he's just in for a preparation because he looks like he's just put on more muscle bulk through his entire trunk. He's just furnished into a real proper stallion now.
0499 736 736 to join our conversation. The performance of the week, best text message today wins $100 Ribera's voucher to have at the famous seafood restaurant there in Port Melbourne. Plenty still more to discuss for the Monday breakdown as we look back at Moonee Valley on Saturday with Gareth Hall, Peter Anthony and David Gately.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Great to have your company wherever you may be listening, watching on the SEN app. We're streaming live, all thanks to Bet365, our Facebook page and YouTube channel, or listening on your local SEN track dial or RSN dial. I can report this morning that Aliana and Treasure of the Moment, a few questions coming through, they will clash on Saturday officially in the Mackay Diva. James McDonald will ride Aliana. So that is going to be some race. I'm heading to Flemington now for the Mackay Diva, Pete.
I'll be nailed to the fence anyway, Gareth. Can't wait.
So you'll have Mr. Brightside there, Treasure of the Moment, Aliana and Tino, Mr. Brightside, Tom Kitten. It'll be a small but quality field. So bring that on, Gator.
Well, I think we've all been waiting for those two girls to clash. And even when they were 3-year-old fillies, we thought, how good are these girls going to be? They're both 2 and 4. One's given Via Sistina a scare and one's looked like Winks first up. Okay, I'm adding a bit of mayonnaise there, but she was brilliant off that fast speed. She's not going to get the same speed this time, though, Treasure of the Moment, is she, on paper? So anyway, we'll dissect that race as we get closer, but can't wait for it.
Let's have a chat about a few of the other races there on Saturday and the questions I posed to you guys. Can Moya defeat Buckaroo and an Underwood after watching her on Saturday, Pete?
I think Moya's probably more fit and ready than what Buckaroo is, but geez, she still needs to improve, doesn't she? I mean, she had every chance. I know it was a slow tempo race there behind Desert Lightning, but she still had her chance, and I'm looking at Buckaroo and thinking that he's got more upside to come. He's
the favourite for the Underwood Stakes, the SEN Underwood Stakes, in just under a couple of weeks' time now, Gator. What did you make of that performance? First of all, Desert Lightning was a great ride by Luke Nolan. He owned that race, dictated the speed. And Moya, I thought Lane gave her a peach of a ride from that draw to land where he did.
No, I agree with all of that, and they beat the rest of them easily.
Yep.
You know, attrition's a bit hit and miss, but look, he's Group 1 horse on his day, and they sort of ran away from him 3 lengths the margin back to third. Desert Lightning's in the right spot, but what I liked was his will to win. Like Moira came at him, he looked to see him coming out of the corner of his eye and said, no, don't think so. I'm a bit too strong. He just kept on kicking. Moira was good, ridden perfectly, as you say, just peeled out clear running. Didn't miss by much, beat third clearly. If I had to pick one going forward, it'd still be Buckaroo, but she's still on that upward trajectory, this girl.
King Safford was your best bet. It looked like he didn't handle the Valley. How did you assess that race, the 10th race in Lafracus? Well, Lafracus wins again, just knows how to get the job done.
Yeah, look, I was very obviously disappointed with the result, given it was the tail end of our decent parlay, and he was the one I was most confident out of, with Angel Capital, Desert Lightning into him, and so I was disappointed driving out of the Temples. Just survived the Temples Hotel, by the way.
Yes. You dominated Sky Racing there on Saturday, Gator. I felt for you a few times when I was watching the coverage and you were getting mobbed. But
haven't seen a more robust crowd, let's say, and we've been all over the state. But look, he ran well, and I think you've summed it up really well, that he just didn't accelerate, did he, coming to the turn, and Lafraca were whipped around him. Seemed to handle the track much better. Once he balanced up, he was very strong, but the race was gone. Lafracas is no slouch. So those 2 5-year-olds and first, third, Princess Q, the 4-year-old, split them, are sitting on a moderate speed. So I'm certainly not sacking him, and certainly great to see Lafraca do that on a dry track, because I'd sort of penciled him as perhaps a length better wetter.
Mm-hmm. Pete?
He's an outstanding-looking gelding, Lafrika. I'm just looking at his numbers just historically and thinking, now that he's ticked a few more boxes there on the weekend, I mean, he could probably just sneak away with one of those Group 1 handicaps at some point.
Okay.
We'll wait and see if he ever gets that opportunity.
What do you think his trip is, however? He's like unbeaten basically over the 6 furlongs.
I'll just keep him at 1,200.
All right, then. We'll take a break on the other side of it. We'll come with all of your questions. Come back with your questions, 0499 736 736, and we'll get the horses to follow from Saturday's Moonee Valley meeting.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Elsa Sophie was very good in the Atlantic Jewel Stakes. The former Queenslander now with Moody and Coleman. Burst through was a great ride by Saxon Spain too to win that race, the Atlantic Jewel. Other performance there, Pete, that caught your eye at the Valley?
Oh, the horse that I'm following is Zardozi.
Okay.
She had a heap of improvement to come. She was pretty fat, to be honest, and she's run the fourth fastest last 200 of the card. So, look, I think for a horse like her, that's as good as she's gone first.
The question is, what race can she win?
I don't know.
Maybe a Hill Stakes?
Look, wherever she goes, I'm going to be following her.
All
Maybe
right,
not
then.
next start, but 2 starts.
What about you, David Gately? What did you make from Saturday's meeting regarding horses to follow and forgive, I guess?
Yeah, look, I think that there's always a decent forgive pile each Saturday, and the Valley generally more so than other tracks, just due to the nature of same. And I thought Alpha Sophie was good, underrated her on Saturday. I thought the Valley wouldn't really suit her. She'd be back, but she was terrific. But I'm going to follow Ole Dancer out of that race.
Yeah.
I think she'll get further, bigger track will really suit her, so I'm not dropping off. Obviously, Angel Capital, yeah, it was hard to miss Ardozi's lovely late work, agree.
Let's get through a few text messages now, 0499 736 736. Great to see a relatively inexpensive horse like Barrack Hill winning a Moyer on Saturday. He was purchased for around $150,000 at a Magic Million sale. Syndicate horse with plenty of happy owners and is good for racing. While there were many unlucky runners, Barrack Hill was bumped on the corner and showed plenty of courage to zip through and get the job done late there, Pete.
Can't argue with that.
Yep. Good morning, Gareth, Clint and punters. Thanks, Clint, for that 2-league double. You tipped us. I added a few others and turned $5 into a 12K multi. Thanks, mate. That might have been from one of our listeners, Big Trig, I think, that did that. He showed me his bet slip there with Bet365. Now, that is good punting. I've got Angel Capital at $26. Please tell me he's going to the Rupert Clark. I reckon that's it. Well, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but I reckon that's a strong possibility that he'll head that way over the Manikato. Hi, Gareth. Any opinion on Richard Callender calling the Moyer a benchmark 64 and saying Barrack Hill would be a lead pony in the Everest? That's from Dom. Gator, your thoughts there?
Look, I think if you take out Kaying Rising, many of these horses have a seat at that table.
Yeah.
So if he comes here and underperforms or doesn't even make the start line, doesn't acclimatise, then all of these horses have a live hope of winning the race. And it's funny, we had a panel to select a horse for Tab Slot, and they were keen as beans, Kaying Rising. As soon as they missed out, all the heads dropped.
Yeah.
Ended up with Jimmy Starr. But look, all of these second-level horses can win if Kaying Rising underperforms. If he gets in one piece, it's
The question
over.
I posed to you, who is Kaying Rising beating there in Hong Kong?
It's irrelevant when you're running those times.
Yeah.
I don't care. He could, on that run in second gear, he could run backwards and beat most of our sprinters, respectfully.
My performance of the week was having Gay Waterhouse. That was our whisper that we're talking about on Thursday. Back on track at Randwick in the mounting yard on Saturday. That's from Kelly. That's the first time I think we've seen Gay Waterhouse at a Sydney Metro track for 6 years or so. Sir Delius, can he win a Cox Plate Gator after watching him on Saturday?
Geez, a good horse.
That's from Barry, Uncle Barry.
Yeah, covered a bit of ground, still surged at the line. I think should have won the race. If he gets it a bit softer early, he wins. No knock on Lindemann, who's a handy horse. We had Chael behind him. You know, he's beaten the likes of Fangirl and been competitive via Sistina. So can he win a Cox Plate? I'm not sure. I think he's more a Cups horse, isn't he?
Yeah. Melbourne Cup. I don't think he'll go to a Caulfield Cup. I reckon he'll go to a Cox Play on the way to a Melbourne Cup.
Yep.
Angel Capital was effortless win with class oozing out every pore. That's from Rob. A lot of love here for Angel Capital. My performance of the week goes to Zach Purden. He just does it again, doesn't he, Zach? 5 winners on the return to racing in Hong Kong. And what an awesome horse Kaying Rising is. And well done, too, to Mark Walker. He tipped Quintessa, and he basically gave it one hell of a push at $35 there on Saturday to take out the price here at Group 1 level, flashed down the outside, so it was an awesome performance. Performance of the week has to be Lady Shenandoah, first up over 1,000. I backed Headwall at $6 and have a futures ticket on Lady Shenandoah and the Manikato at $6, so that was a perfect result for me. What did you make of Vauban? I've backed him in a Caulfield Cup there, Gator. That's from Jason.
Yeah. I wonder if that'll be his race this year that he can run really well in. He's obviously been to a couple of Melbourne Cups, and historically they don't win them at their third try at that race. Although he ran quite well in the race last year. The year before he was close to that fearsome speed, wasn't he, and knocked up. But maybe the Caulfield Cup's more his go. Look, he did a good job. He chased Sir Dilith all the way. He held off Cherwell for third, so he's come back well. Liked his try leading into that.
Will Skybird get a slot in the Everest? That's from Damien. I reckon she's a chance. I'll explain a little later on in the means test why. Horse to follow from the Moy. This is Chris from Torquay. Would definitely be Skybird. She was under a hold at the 200 with nowhere to go and jogging, whereas Barrakill was having everything thrown at him by Ben Allen from the same stage. 1,200 metres, Skybird has her measure comfortably and will be a moral second up. Don't know about that, Chris, but I like the confidence with Skybird. Hey, I loved your work on Sky Racing during the weekend, Gator. We thank Sky Racing for letting you come on Giddy Up, so we appreciate that. You enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll catch up with you on Thursday.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Just add one, Isha, for the Forgive Fox. She pulled up lane if you were with her on Saturday.
All right, then. Thanks, mate, and good on you, Pete.
Pleasure as
We'll
always,
catch up with you a little later on, too, for Horses to Follow from WA. That was the breakdown looking at Moonee Valley on Saturday. Time for a break on the other side of it. Mick Gannon will join us. He'll take a close look at what happened there at Randwick a couple of days ago. This is Giddy Up this Monday morning. It's great to have your company.
Powered by Signet. Good morning. I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. Erin Patterson will soon learn her fate after being found guilty of triple murder over a mushroom lunch that killed 3 family members. Prosecutors are pushing for a life sentence with no parole. Lawyer Justin Quill has told Seven she'll have until the 6th of October to appeal.
I think there's every chance that she appeals. I'd be beyond stunned if she didn't appeal.
The hearing is due to begin this hour with the verdict to be broadcast live. The federal government is proposing a new aviation consumer protection scheme. It would pave an easier path for compensation for flight delays and cancellations. Hawks fans hoping to jet to Adelaide for Friday's semi-final against the Crows will need to fork out the big bucks for a plane ticket. Airlines are being accused of price gouging, with Jetstar seats above $700. Qantas one way is north of $600 and Virgin is charging almost $800. Meantime, club members can access tickets to the Adelaide Oval match from 10 this morning. And as we head into National Child Protection Week, Aussies are being urged to take action to keep young people and children safe. NAPCAN Chief Executive Lisa Waters asking parents to step up in learning about the places where their children are being cared for.
Whether it's at a sporting event, childcare centre, after-school care or at a dance club, wherever your child is or a child that you might be caring for, be active in knowing what's going on in that organisation.
Up next, SEN Sport. Oscar Piastri played the team game at the Italian Grand Prix, giving up second place to teammate Lando Norris with 5 laps to go. The McLaren driver suffered a delayed pit stop. Once back on the track, Oscar let him pass.
The decision to swap back was fair. You know, Lando was ahead of me the whole race, so I don't have any issues with that.
Max Verstappen finished top of the podium.
live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. It's now time for the Monday Breakdown with Mick Gannon.
In flight, the inside from Ostraka Spring Lee. Lady Shenandoah's got plenty of traffic in front. Meantime, Head Ball is stoked up, coming with a big run down the outside. Ostraka races to the lead. Head Ball's claiming it. Lady Shenandoah's into the clear now. It's Head Ball getting in front. Lady Shenandoah's charging home. Head Ball made a statement, scraped in Head Ball.
It was a great race. It promised plenty. There was a lot on the line there because horses like Lady Shenandoah and Head Ball were trying to put their hand up for a slot at an Everest, and Matty Smith's done a great job with Head Ball. He has come a long, long way in the last 12 months, and Matty Smith joins us now here on Giddy Up. Good morning to you, Matt.
Morning, Gareth.
How was that, mate? Was it relief, or what was the feeling straight after that race with Head Ball?
Oh, look, I couldn't have, obviously very happy with that effort. It was a good effort, good strong win, and just wanted to see him come back in that shape, and so... look, we were relieved, but we knew, his work had been great, and he sort of had one of those trouble-free preps, so everything had gone to plan. So, we were very happy with the horse. We just need to see him do it.
He's come a long way in 12 months.
No, he has. He sure has. He's gone from restricted handicaps to Group 1s, and, it's his second group race. And, placed in Group 1s, and, he's in good shape, and he's going to get better, I think.
And what's been the key to his improvement?
I think he's just relaxing a lot better. He was always kind of just probably over-competitive in those early preps where he wanted to just race right from the word go. Didn't really know how to control his speed or, his turn of foot, and he just used to use up too much petrol early in the race. Even though he still kept winning, he was still doing things wrong. All the jockeys were sort of saying, when he relaxes, he can be a decent horse, and that's what's happened now. He's relaxed and doing things right. He's just a different horse. He's got an incredible turn of foot. And, I think when he gets up to 11 or 12 this time in, we'll see a better horse than last prep.
So what do you do with him now? There's the Everest that you want to get into, I would imagine. But in saying that, there's some really nice horses like a Carling Rising did what he did again there last night at Sha Tin. And then you've got some nice races around the Everest as well, worth a lot of prize money. So from a trainer's perspective, what are you thinking regarding his campaign for the rest of the spring?
Oh, look, really happy with where he's at. And there's obviously there's that sprint series in Sydney. There's good prize money to offer. He's just in the right place at the right time. So, the consolation for the Everest is a good prize money race.
Yeah.
With points for the series. So we'll just stay in Sydney and go through that series and hopefully get in the Everest. If we don't, there's lots of other good races for him.
Has the phone started to ring?
Oh, look, had a couple of little discussions over the weekend. So, we'll see what happens. Hopefully something will happen, but until it's all put together, you just got to wait and see how it goes. There's not many slots left if you have a look at it. There's only 2 or 3 slots left, so... we'll see how we go.
I was just having a look at it just before, and people think there's a few slots left, but Godolphin will use probably one of their horses. Coolmore want to be using Woden if they can, I would imagine. So it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out. How many more runs do you give him before Everest Day?
Oh, look, he's a good fresh horse. He doesn't have to have too many more runs. He'll run in the shorts in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then we'll sort of reset, see where we go from there. I guess there's always the Premier Stakes if needed, and if we don't get in, we'll run in the consolation and go from there.
It was a good day for the stable. I thought Time Quest hit the line strongly, and then I loved the performance of Winston Hills.
Time Quest was great actually. It was sort of a month between runs, and we thought he might have needed it, but he finished off good. He's on track for the big dance, and he's in a better place this year than last year, that's for sure. And Winston Hills, if we could just get him to... Winston Hills, both his return runs have been excellent, but he's just doing it a bit upside down. You just got to tweak a few things with him, maybe take the blinkers off, because he has got a better turn of foot than he's showing. He just seems to be over-racing a little bit. But, it was a good run, good solid run.
Well done on the weekend, mate. He's a great story, Head Ball. You've got him flying, and it was great to see him. Well, he deserved to win a big race, $1 million race. I know it's only a Group 3, which is hard to believe, but he deserved a big race like that and take a big scalp like a Lady Shenandoah and Jimmy Star. So well done, mate, and good luck going forward with him this prep.
No, thanks very much, Gareth. It's exciting, and thanks for having us on this morning.
Good on you. There's Matty Smith, very, very good trainer, as I welcome in Mickey Gannon for the Sydney Breakdown. G'day, Mickey.
Yeah, morning, G. Yeah, it's good to hear from Matty there. He's got Headwell absolutely low flying, and look, there's a lot of merit to his victory. Obviously, there's a few luckless horses in behind, but it was a very impressive win on Saturday.
So Headwell, hopefully you can get started in Everest. Like, I went through and had a look at the slot holders. So I reckon Inglis will go with a Inglis purchase horse. So Lady Shenandoah would be the favourite, the firm favourite. This is just my gut feel, nothing confirmed here. I've made a few phone calls, but it's difficult to get anything confirmed. But this is my gut feel, that Lady Shenandoah will represent Inglis. Newgate, they tell me they're not going to go with Beedman, so that's a question mark. Chris Waller will use Jolly Star. Mulberry, they own Jettabill, so I don't know what the plan is there. He was scratched from the weekend. Coolmore will give Woden every opportunity to prove himself. John Camilleri lost Sunshine in Paris. Max Whitney, Cole Madden, Steve McCann and Neil Werrett have got Briasa. The Tab have got Jimmy Star. Hong Kong Jockey Club and the ATC, Carling Rising. Yulong Investments, Private Harry. And I reckon Godolphin will give Tempted every possible. She will return this Saturday in Sydney. So there's only a couple of slots left when you think about it, Mickey Gannon.
Yeah, there is. It'd be interesting to see what Godolphin do as well. I thought Tentris could be right in the mix there, and they might aim up at a Coolmore for Tempted. But either way, you'd expect them to run one of theirs. Not many slots left. Headwell, you'd imagine, would secure a slot there along the line, like somewhere along the lines. His win was good, and I think that thing out of this race is, look, Lady Shenandoah had the red flashing light. She was back to the inside, but Headwell won on a day where it was very, very hard to make up ground, like significant amount of ground, and do it from back and wide. So further than the midfield, spotting 6.5 lengths at the 600 metres and getting to the wider lanes. It was a very impressive, long, sustained run. And I think you'll take stacks of benefit from that. Yeah. And look, Lady Shenandoah, red flashing light, with a bit of luck, she wins the race. Albeit when you're tucked up in behind them and you're not doing much work, it's easy to show that nice turn of foot late, where Headwell was doing that work from almost the 500 exposed. So whilst you'd say the margin could be significantly greater because Lady Shenandoah was held up, Headwell had to do all the hard work. And from Zach Lloyd, because he sort of took matters into his own hands and said, you know what, I'm not going to be caught in behind them. And he could have well have been from barrier 4, stuck in amongst them, and he decided to get widest and just win the race. So it was good to see.
So Lady Shenandoah was very good. She's going to be hard to beat in a Manikato Stakes, and she should get a slot in the Everest. So I reckon she deserves it. Looking forward to seeing what she can do at her next start. What'd you make of Jimmy Star flashing down the outside?
Yeah, good run. Went with Tiger Shark, so some minor concerns there. But what I will say, that was only over 1,000 metres, and his best work was probably his last 50 and through the post. So really nice return. He's a horse that's definitely on target for an Everest. Exactly what we predicted throughout the week, 60.5 kilos, gets out the back, rattles home, ticks all the boxes, would be nowhere near peak fitness. And I'd say the connections and Kieran Maher and Ethan Brown would be very, very happy with the performance.
Who's the horse that you want to be taking out of that race?
I'd say Lady Shenandoah, because as a 4-year-old mare, she's going to get in well in the Everest conditions. And I'd suggest that. So Headwell will be carrying a little bit more weight. There'll be a swing in the weights there. So I would say Lady Shenandoah out of the race, G. But Jimmy Star did nothing wrong, did he?
No. And he'll have a couple more runs before the Everest as well. And I reckon he'll be better at Randwick over the 1,200 metres, as you just pointed out. The other interesting race was the Chelmsford Stakes. Let's pick up that race there from Saturday. Oh, we don't have the Chelmsford, but it was a race that was going to be important for the rest of the spring, the Chelmsford Stakes. And we had you tipping the house down there on Saturday, because you were all over the winner there in the Chelmsford eventually anyway, with Lindemann getting the job done over Sir Dilius and Vauban, and Charles Wolf was back in 4. So first of all, well done, Mickey Gannon, because on the weekend preview and on the Sydney preview there on Winners on Saturday, you wanted to punt Lindemann and he didn't let you down there on Saturday.
No, he did well, and look, full credit to Nash Willa here. Look, the horse hasn't been necessarily racing at his best. He came off a rain-affected track back to a dry track at the mile, which suits. And look, Nash just took the race by the scruff of the neck, didn't he? He didn't have to lead. I don't think we necessarily had him leading. We had him on speed, but he decided he'd go forward, and he just continued to increase. He's got 11.9, 11.7, 11.8, and handlebars down from the 600 to the 400, and that's pretty much where he won the race. Gee, so really great ride. And it's interesting to hear Nash's comments post-race. He suggested that it was almost like he went all in on this ride because he wasn't sure what happened last time. He obviously understood that he didn't perform on a heavy track, but he thought the horse might be nearly at its end. But he thought, we'll go all in and we'll see if the horse produces today. Well, Lindemann certainly stood up, and he's not at the end of his career at all. And there was a really good win. Sir Delius, fantastic. Is he too classy? It might sound ridiculous to say this, but is he too classy for Melbourne Cup? Gee, you see some of these horses that are just, over the mile. It's a pretty impressive run. I'd love to see him in a Cox Plate, and I'm sure he'll head in that direction. Vauban, all reports were that it was his best parade yet, and he's come back in really fine order. But big question mark out of the race is Charwolf. What do we do with Charwolf moving forward? Because his first up performance was exceptional. Second up a little flat. Do we see a huge third up run? Do punters butter up again? $1.75. Gee whiz, they'll be feeling the pain.
So Cox Plate V Sistine at 2.30, Treasure of the Moment 5, Aliana 8, and Tino 11. Geez, Aliana's a big price against, like, when you think about it, she wins the Maccabi Diva on Saturday. She won't be that price for a Cox Plate. Sir Delius is $13 and Tino 11. What you've seen of Sir Delius, what's your expectations with him going into a Cox Plate?
Very, very competitive, and he puts himself, he can put himself more on speed the further he goes. Yeah. His prelim figures from Saturday are quite impressive, and he'll be very competitive. He'll run top 4 in a Cox Plate, I'd imagine, of what we've seen. It's important to realise I think he could continue to improve. What I'll say on your thoughts on Aliana and Treasure of the Moment, I still in camp Aliana in the sense of 2,000 metres, but I think Treasure of the Moment will most definitely have the wood over Aliana, with her being second up. Just the way the profile from the Waller Yard is, I'd expect Aliana to go third up and fourth up, run those big peaks. So you might get a bigger price post-Saturday.
There's confidence too in the camp of Antino from Maccabi Diva. Mr. Brightside looks like he might be the only pace in that race, over 1,600 metres as well on Saturday in that small field. So it will be a tactical battle. And every horse should get their opportunity there at Flemington. So bring it on Saturday. So we just had a chat about Sir Delius. Vauban Caulfield Cup. It was
looks a great race.
Yeah. I wonder I've got to find out where these two horses go, Sir Delius and Vauban, on the way to these cups. I think Sir Delius is going to come towards a Turnbull Stakes. So whether he has another run in before the Turnbull Stakes, before a Cox Plate, we'll have to find that out.
Turnbull, Cox Plate, Melbourne Cup.
Yeah.
Gee, probably a really, really great platform.
So what'd you make of Vauban?
Good, Vauban was really good, returning good order. So, I think you could definitely follow Vauban out of the race. I thought Bourbon was excellent. I thought Land Legend was just doing his best work late. And just got to remember with a horse like that, on track for Melbourne Cup, second up over the mile, it's pretty much what you'd expect from him. And he settled again, so that's a big tick. Charwolf
SP'd at $1.75. Are we giving up on him yet? Is he one of those horses that just promises the world? Like, in saying that he is a King Charles winner, my theory with this horse is that he's a bit like he needs a fast tempo race, 1,600 metres, and the brakes to go his way.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's probably you absolutely nailed it. A fast run, 2,000 metres, right up his alley. And look, he'll get that at some stage of preparation. It probably leaves him just below the best of the best because, the best of the best don't necessarily need everything to go their way. But at this stage in his horse's career, he probably does, albeit, sometimes horses are entitled to a flat second up run as well, coming off a heavy 10 track. So I wouldn't be completely petting it, but everything's price relative, G. If they put up $1.75 or $2, then of course you want to go near him. But if he opens $6, next time because he's failed, we could call it twice now, albeit he was $8.50 first up in the wings. But if you put up a big price, then all of a sudden he could very well become a bet. So it's all price relative with him. He's a talented horse. He's only been beaten 2.5 lengths these last two starts in Group 1 and Group 2 grades. So I think it'd be silly to drop off, but it's all, as I said, price relative.
I wonder if Joe will keep with Chad Schofield. Like, I think he's been a victim of circumstances, but Joe's done it before. He's changed jockey just for a change of luck.
I think that's a good point, and it's not. You can't necessarily just say, "Oh, well, we're just going to keep turning up doing the same thing." You've got to move the needle at some stage, and whether it's this run or another, or whether it's a gear change, or whether they're tinkering with something to get the best out of this horse. And it's not necessarily, as you said, a knock on the jockey, but sometimes the change is good as a holiday with for humans and horses, Joe.
90 minutes past 9, we'll take a break. This is The Breakdown, looking back at Randwick on Saturday. Gareth Hall and Mickey Gannon with you. It's great to have your company wherever you may be listening, on your local RSN dial or your SEN track dial, or you're watching us on the SEN app or our YouTube channel or Facebook page. We'll take a break. We'll come back and look at the rest of the card there in Sydney on Saturday, plus your text messages, 0499 736 736 to join our conversation.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
We're breaking down what happened there at Randwick on Saturday with Mickey Gannon. Mickey, first of all, there were plenty of star performances there from the weekend, but what did you make of the performance of Pericles, who provided Godolphin their first stakes winner of the season?
Yeah, really good win, really good training performance by Bjorn Baker. You see Bjorn's had two horses that have come to him on the card and get the job done. I speak of Monty Supreme in race 3 and then Pericles. So really good effort there. Horse has gone near a career peak, which speaks volumes.
Yeah.
But it was a race dominated by, as we touched on Thursday, funnily enough, Josh Parr, Nasher Wheeler, Alicia Collett, 3 jockeys that just love to get in front and sort of dictate to their rivals. And when I say dictate, they don't necessarily have to go a fast clip. They just run the race to suit. And we very much saw that there on Saturday. G, what would you do with these horses moving forward?
Pericles.
Stick with Pericles.
He's going to go to a
him.
Epsom, I think, with top weight. Or he'd be at the top of the weights anyway. They reckon he's a better fresh horse. They got the 7 stakes as an option, but that'll come around too quick. So I think that's the situation that they're thinking with Pericles.
Yeah, Private Eye was, I'd say, probably a little disappointing given the run that he had in Transit. It was, they didn't exactly go, warp speed up in front with Your Blessing stuck on well. Militarize was okay. Swift Falcon just goes to, how it started $6 and was sort of beyond me given the map it was going to have. Linebacker had his opportunity. Another horse that probably just didn't run near what we expected. And I don't know what you do. Militarize is okay, as I said. Willie Dewitt's the horse you've got to, blink and you'll miss. It was really good back to the inside. I thought it was very, very impressive. So if you're looking for a horse to take out of that race, Willie Dewitt's most certainly going to be the one, G.
He's an Epsom horse. So you wanted to have a chat about like the best rides you thought for the day because of their intent. That was the difference between them winning and losing. So I reckon there has to be Nasher Wheeler, of course, but we all knew that he was going to go to the front, but he owned that race back on a firm track with Lindemann. What else did you have for us?
Yeah, I thought James McDonald on Changing of the Guard was a great ride because we spoke about this earlier on Saturday on Winners, and the discussion was basically around that Travolta's probably going to win this race if they go slow, and J-Mac's only chance of winning the race is stealing it out in front and making it a true staying test, and it's exactly what he did. He stole the race. He started increasing the sectionals from about the 1200, and it was really good because they went slow, but then he just stole the race. I think, basically looking at these numbers here, from the 1200, he continued to increase the tempo, 1212, 1192, 1148, 1148 again, and stole the race and had a horse like Travolta, who was 2,400 metres first time, under a bit of pressure. So great ride, great intent by J-Mac, and significant margin to the rest.
What about, there's a couple of questions coming through, and I'll get to them. We're going to take the news in just a moment, then I'll get to the questions for you as well, Mickey. But horses to follow?
Long list of horses to follow here, G. It'll go Willie Dewitt. Generosity was fantastic in behind. No luck there in the Concord, so you can keep an eye on it. God's Window. Wootton Verney is a horse we could definitely follow, and within the law, back and wide on a day where it wasn't advantageous to as well. Tupacara falls right into that category as well, and there's some obvious ones: Jimmy Star, Lady Shenandoah, and Land Legend right on track.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with some questions for you, Mickey Gannon, 0499 736 736. Then after that, we've got the means test. Wayne Hawkes live from Sydney this morning will be joining me with Johnny O'Neill away on holidays. Great to have your company on Giddy Up this Monday.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. Erin Patterson will today learn her fate after being found guilty of triple murder over a mushroom lunch that killed 3 family members. A new aviation consumer protection scheme is being considered that would set minimum standards for compensation for delayed or cancelled flights. A study by Safe Will shows younger Aussies are 4 times more likely to rely on an inheritance to buy a home than older generations. And from 10 this morning, Crows and Hawks members will be lining up for tickets to Friday night's semi-final, which of course you can hear live on SEN. Coming up, SEN Sport. Oscar Piastri played the team game at the Italian Grand Prix, giving up second place to teammate Lando Norris with 5 laps to go. The McLaren driver suffered a delayed pit stop. Once back on the track, Oscar let him pass.
The decision to swap back was fair. Lando was ahead of me the whole race, so I don't have any issues with that.
Max Verstappen finished top of the podium.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Gareth Hall, Mickey Gannon with you. I'd love to hear what Mick thinks about Tiger Sharks running the Concord. Came home arguably better than Jimmy Starr and could be a contender in some similar second-grade races going forward. What'd you make of that, Mickey?
Yeah, it was really, really good from the top of the home straight in a position that you probably didn't necessarily want to be on the day. What I will say is probably Jimmy Starr, carried more weight and was going past her at that point in time, probably, from the 50 onwards. But, yeah, really nice run. And what's the race mate was talking about, the Sydney Stakes, race like that probably wouldn't be out of the equation,
Hey, G, could you ask Gano if he thinks Queen of Clubs for Gary Portelli, is that all? Yeah, Queen of Clubs for Gary Portelli. The fresh blood in 2 weeks is a chance against the likes of a Pocket Clipdick and Tupakara after last Saturday's performance with an extra 200 metres in the Ming Dynasty. I reckon she's a big chance, especially if it's a firm track there, Mickey.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. A heavy track to a dry deck, and Sydney weather's pretty good at the moment. Touch wood, it's 27 degrees today. So, yeah, dry deck for Queen of Clubs, 3-year-old filly by Maurice. Should be very competitive, and be interesting to see how they all line up. Barriers will play their part in that race. You were at Moonee Valley on Saturday, and we probably didn't give this horse enough credit, and that was Golden Boom. If he drew a gate in the Moir Stakes, who knows what would have happened now. I thought his run under the circumstances was this massive Golden Boom. And the other unlucky runner that we should have touched on a little bit more was Oak Hill, who had just the gate beat him there on Saturday. Yeah, red flashing light, Oak Hill and Golden Boom, exceptional performance, exceptional performance. To do what it did there wide the trip was very, very good. And I'd say just looking at that horse, run near a career peak doing that as well. So it's gone to a complete new level.
Good on you, Mickey G. Thanks for that, mate. Any winners today or this week, or are you just going to wait until Wednesday?
Keep the powder dry. I don't mind the look of when the odds open for the run to the Rose. I know Wadton will be carrying, I think, only 55 kilos, or the rest of them will be on 57, 58 and a half. So you'd imagine he'll be in well at that weight scale, and Jason Collett, I believe, will be aboard. So is that confirmed that J-Mac's going to Melbourne?
Yes. Yep. 100%.
There you go. I imagine Jason Collett might jump aboard there. So if they put up a silly price, $4 or $5, they're probably worth it. It's going to be a fascinating run to the Rose. Travis Noonan does a great job with the likely fields there. I
I don't think many people had J-Mac coming to Melbourne, but he's always been booked for. So he was booked for Via Sistina for the Maccabi Diva, and then Mark Guests and J-Mac have done all their rides for that meeting. So it's difficult for them to go back, if you know what I mean, because they're doing their rides, 3 weeks out?
Yeah.
So, just having a look at the Run to the Rose. Devil Knight, North England, Woden, Skyhook, Raging Force, Nepotism, Rivellino, Autumn Boy, Biowak, King of Pop. But it's going to be some race.
Yeah, certainly will. I'm really looking forward to seeing Biowak as well. He was 3 wide, 1,100 metres, Rosehill, complete disadvantage. Autumn Boy first up. Trial, most people would say that trial was average. If you go back and watch that trial and look maybe 50 metres past the post, he was steaming. Autumn Boy, absolutely steaming. Don't think first up's his go. He'll run well. Second up, maybe. Third up, you'll see a career peak out of him as well.
What about a Cozzy tip early doors?
No, I haven't done enough work on it to be completely honest with you. Yeah.
I tried anyway, whoever that was. 9:35, Mickey G. Thanks for your company as always. We'll catch up with you later on in the week.
It's a pleasure, mate. Thank you.
There's Mickey Gannon with the Monday Breakdown looking at Randwick. Straight after this, it's the Monday Means Test. Wayne Hawkes will be joining me live from Sydney.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Monday Means Test with Wayne Hawkes and John O'Neill.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. It is time for the Monday Means Test. Johnny O'Neill's on holiday, so no Johnny O'Neill today, but Wayne Hawkes is ready to go. Good morning to you, Wayne.
Gareth, how are you?
Good, thank you. How was your weekend?
Yeah, pretty good, actually. Pretty good. I ended up going to Menangle on Saturday night to see dear old dad's horse race, and I was quite impressed with Menangle. I've never been there before, but it's a long way out of town, unfortunately. But the fortunate part was when you get there, gee whiz, it's some setup, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a wonderful setup. It's just a long way away from the CBD there in Sydney, so you sort of nearly got to spend a night out at Campbelltown, basically, or around the Menangle area. But it is a beautiful racetrack, and that is an area around that precinct that is growing. Every time I go out to Menangle, I can't believe the houses that are being built around the track, basically. So
I actually can't believe how big that track was, Gareth.
Yeah.
When I was there, it reminded me of being a Sandown racecourse. That's how big it was. It was an amazing track.
And the crowd was good?
Crowd was amazing. No, everything was really, really good. And I'll give you a quick little yes. The museum there at Menangle was absolutely unbelievable. And what we need to do is this. I was there on Saturday night. You're looking at Koala King and Popular Arm and all these horses, Pro Chevalier and Christian Cullen. There were pictures of them like Horse of the Year every year and all that sort of stuff to bring back so many amazing memories. And I know when you get older, you reminisce a bit more, but what we need to do is we need to have the Racing Museum at Flemington, and for Sydney, we must have it at Randwick. It's as simple as that. So people that go during those, on the race stage can actually go and wander through the museum, because it was just amazing on Saturday night to have all those memories come flooding back of the great horses of yesteryear. And having the museum in Melbourne in town, no. We need to have it at Flemington, and we need to have one at Rosehill as well. And even for that matter, have one at Eagle Farm, Morphettville. Why not? But have it where the people are.
Let's get stuck into the means test. We'll start with the King's Gambit. And this, for me, and we'll get to Carling Rising a little later on, because Zach Purton will join us just after 10:30, after 5 winners and, of course, riding Carling Rising. But I love the performance of this warrior, this horse that's been through a lot, Barrakill, who took out the Moya Stakes.
And also Oak Hill. Escher went to the front. Alabama Lass on the outside, immediately up to it. Arabian Summer back to the fence. And then came Barrakill. Alabama Lass, 100 metres to go, strikes the front. Barrakill bursting through. And Barrakill got the split at one from Alabama Lass. And also on the inside, Arabian Summer. They were followed next to finish by Golden.
So that was his 8th victory from 12 starts, and that was his first Group 1 in a Moya. And it was a brilliant performance by that galloper. And this is what Troy Corstens had to say about his journey, Barrakill's journey on correct weight there on RSN and SEN Track yesterday morning with Trevor Nick Noonan.
Yeah, we always knew he had the talent there. It was just, like mentioned, just getting him through all these injuries over time. But, the owners had to be very patient to get him to the races. And what he's doing now, it would have been very good to have him there for the 2-year-old and 3-year-old seasons and run through all those big Group 1s. And I'm sure he would have won one a lot sooner. But it probably did get to a stage at some point where it was probably looking unlikely that he'd ever make the racetrack, but it's a lot of patience and hard work's gone into it, so it's very rewarding.
Troy, just talk us through the injuries he had as a young horse and the adversity he's had to overcome.
Yeah, as a younger horse, he actually kicked out in his box and he put a hole in his hind tendon. So we had to wait for that to heal. So it wasn't actually a tear or a sprain, but it was still a typical tendon, sort of 12 months. And he's done a suspensory before. He's just absolutely, if he can hurt himself, he will. But I think it really is because he tries so hard. Everything he does, he wants to do it really, really well. And I just think he's a little bit prone, but thank Christ we've got him nice and sound at the moment. And I can tell you he has pulled up a lot better than Will has by the sounds of it.
So that was Will Larkin who was talking first, and then Troy Corstens on correct weight yesterday, Wayne. And Just hearing what he's been through there, what a remarkable athlete. And well done to Bennett Racing and the group of owners, as Troy's mentioned a few times, for them to persevere and have faith in this horse and keep him going. It's a credit to them, and they deserve all the success that comes their way now.
So what's his record? 12 starts, 9 wins or 8
No,
wins?
12 starts, 8 wins. Yeah.
If Chris Waller trained this horse, he'd be a superstar. I mean, you have a look what this horse has done. I mean, he's come through winter.
I think he's a superstar trained by this team. Is that?
Yeah, but my point is, he's only just people only starting to have a proper look at him now.
What you're saying that if he'd have a bigger rap on him if he was trained by Chris
Absolutely
Waller.
he would. Yeah. Absolutely would. And I mean, the way that he won, it was quite it was ridiculous, really, how he did win. And it was a credit to him because he's obviously he's got issues. He's a shuffly going horse. I know that. I know that there was issues with them 3, 4, 5 weeks ago. The vet said that he was fine, and then the Race Victoria vet said he wasn't fine, and they had dramas at the race. It might have been the races pre-race, and at the end of the day, these are athletes, and they're not all perfect. And he's a perfect example of he's not 100%, but when he goes out there and races, he's a racehorse. And 12 starts, 9 wins, and to be at your 12th start winning in Group 1. You're pretty damn good, let me tell you, because it doesn't have to be the Black Caviar record, but when you're starting to strike that together, that's showing you one thing: you are a proper horse.
And just explain how good of training performances that is from the team there regarding this horse's injuries, especially to come off the suspensory.
Yeah, you need to have the horse to work with you. You need lady luck. You need nature on your side as well. But to manage the horse through all those problems. I mean, if anyone's been lucky enough to go in the sheds in New South Wales or the changing rooms in Victoria, with the AFL, you see the players after their match. They walk out, shocking sometimes, and sometimes so do our horses. So, but to get that horse there, and I'm sure when he put a hole. So, I mean, you imagine above your Achilles, you've kicked back, and you've just put a hole in your back of your leg. That's what this horse has done. Yeah. So to come out and end up like Kathy Freeman winning the big race, that's ridiculous. So good luck to him, well done. But they'd have the right horse to work with him. But he's obviously, a bloody good horse. But and especially, I'm always a bit critical, Gareth, when horses come through winter form. I'm always a bit iffy about the winter form, but he's one that has certainly stacked up, hasn't he?
What'd you make of the Moya? Capacity field, 1,000 metres, was a few unlucky runners, and it wasn't a vintage Moya, but from an entertaining point of view, I reckon it was a great race over 1,000 metres because we all knew that was going to be the case, that you're going to have a horse that needs a little bit of luck to win this race.
Sure. The capacity field, I think there was one emergency. You know what? Well done to Moonee Valley because they've messed around with these races. They've moved to Moya, they've moved to Manikato, and they got it right. Simple as that. There was no point taking on the Everest. You're not going to attract the best horses. They're going to run in the Everest because of the prize money. It's very, very simple. So at the end of the day, I reckon they've done such a great job to move this race, and it was a great race. The second horse, it looks a pretty fair horse. The second horse,
Alabama Lass.
Yeah, absolutely. So he didn't do anything wrong there by beating a really, really, really good horse, I think.
You see, I thought that Golden Boom was very good. I wonder if he draws a gate. I reckon he goes awfully close for Tony Golan. And there was a few unlucky performances. We all know Skybird was so unlucky. She was first up after winning a Lightning and then getting injured, and then she was at the Valley there on Saturday. And even Oak Hill, the barrier rule beat him. Shin had to take his medicine, and he was hitting the line strongly. So the form lines out of this race will be interesting. And Barrack Hill is the winner out of this race. Team Corstons, they want to slot in the Everest. They probably will have to prove themselves, I reckon, again in a Manikato. But that Manikato Stakes now, because the Moonee Valley Racing Club decided to move it, and it was the right decision now, 2 grand final leave, they'll get a clash that will see Lady Shenandoah take on Barrack Hill. So the Concord form will clash now with the Moya form.
Good horses are running around, and we've said it for a while now. This is going to be one hell of a spring, and this is the best lot of horses coming through at the top end that we've had, as I said, I reckon since the class of 1992, and the kids from 1992 they are the benchmark in the modern era. And if you don't remember, that was the Octagonal, Saintly, and all that era of those great horses. But this crop of horses coming through, geez, we've got some good horses emerging, and some of these aren't Group 1 winners yet that we're raving about. So racing's in a good spot at the moment.
I wonder what they'll do with the Everest slot holders. There's not too many slots left because people think there's a few slots, like there's more slots left than there is, because a lot of these owners will be looking towards their own horses in a way, Wayne. So it's going to be an interesting finale to who goes where. And then I think a few of the connections have got to weigh up, is it the best interest in their horse? Can they win probably the consolation on Everest Day and win more prize money than finishing down the track in an Everest?
That's exactly right, but that's what the race is. And you know what? The bottom line is it is the best sprint race in the country. You've got the world's best sprinter coming down for it. We're going to, no doubt, this race is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And what is it, 8-10 years old now? I mean, it's not an old race. So in the autumn, it is the TJ Smith, and in the spring, it is the Everest. So we want all these horses to clash together, and we want to have the best horses. You were just talking about the size of the field.
Yeah.
I just reckon it's probably too many. At Moonee Valley last weekend, because at the end of the day, I know everyone's entitled to get a run, but I'd much rather see it have a few less runners and a bit better quality and a few less slow ones in their way.
Some breaking news. Matty Laurie just tweeting out, this is some terrible news, but she's okay. I think it's been decided that Treasure the Moment will not compete in the Makybe Diva Stakes this weekend, and the stewards have been duly informed. Unfortunately, this morning, Treasure had a very mild case of colic. This was identified very quickly, and out of precaution, she was taken to hospital for observation. I can report she is in the best of care. She looks bright and her prognosis is very good. We will look at other race alternatives in due course, always keeping her best interests as a priority. So that's interesting, Wayne. I've got a minute or so before I have to take a break, but the good news there, because it can be very, very dangerous, colleague, that she's okay.
No doubt, but has it stuffed her preparation up? Probably. You know what I mean? It's if you're looking at it without knowing any facts, it's not what you want as a racehorse trainer before going into the big races, because it's not about missing Saturday. That's okay, but what it does is it puts you on the back foot heading towards obviously the Cox Plate being the grand final. But you know what? You can feel a bit crook in the guts, and for people with young kids, I mean, plenty of kids have colic and things like that. It's when you have the bad bouts of colic is when it really hurts you. But hopefully it was just a pain in the gut, and she's passing manure. That's the first thing you really got to look for. But it's very, very disappointing. And is it the end of the spring? Well, it won't be the end of the spring, but they would obviously have to relook at what they're going to run in now, which is disappointing.
We'll keep a close eye on that breaking story as it unfolds this morning. But Treasure the Moment's had a small bout of colic. She's okay. She's at the vets as we speak, but she won't be competing in Saturday's Makybe Diva, with Matt Laurie releasing that statement on his social media platforms just moments ago. We'll take a break. We'll continue on the Monday Means Test next.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. So the news is breaking with Matty Laurie releasing a statement on his social media platforms that Treasure the Moment will be out of the Maccabi Diva on Saturday. This morning she had a mild case of colic, and Matty Laurie can report she's in the best of care. She looks bright and her prognosis is very good. We will look to other race alternatives in due course, always keeping her best interest as a priority. It'd be interesting. I don't know if it's too late. We'll ask Wayne after the news. Like Via Sistina, I think Noms close at 12 o'clock today. They weren't going to clash ahead of the Cox Plate, and Via Sistina was meant to be coming to the Maccabi Diva, but instead Waller was going to St. Aliana. I wonder if he can change his mind now. We'll take the news and come back with plenty more straight after this.
Powered by Signet. Good morning. I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. Erin Patterson is currently being sentenced for killing 3 of her in-laws via a poisonous mushroom meal. Justice Christopher Beale began his sentencing hearing, agreeing with the prosecutor's push for a life sentence.
The prosecution submits, and your counsel concedes, that your offending falls into the worst category of offending for these offences, and that you should receive the maximum penalties for your crimes. I agree.
We're now waiting to hear if the convicted murderer will receive a parole period. The funeral for Detective leading Senior Constable Neil Thompson will be held today. He's the second of the 2 police officers gunned down in the Victorian High Country almost 2 weeks ago. The search for gunman Des Freeman continues. The federal government is looking to introduce a new airline customer protection scheme. It would ensure passengers who have flights delayed or cancelled give a minimum compensation. A 4-week public consultation period is getting underway. Donald Trump has declared he's ready for more sanctions on Russia after Ukraine was hit by the largest aerial attack of the war so far. Government buildings in Kiev were struck with 4 people killed. Australians were treated to a blood moon lunar eclipse this morning. Its reddish appearance caused by sunlight around the outer edge of the eclipse. And Crows and Hawks fans at this hour lining up for tickets to this Friday night semi-final against the Hawks. That's for club members. And of course, you can hear it all live right here on SEM. Coming up, sen.com.au sport. Hawthorn's Dylan Moore says the team is looking to steer the momentum from the weekend's win over GWS into Friday night semi-final against the Crows. It almost came undone after a spirited fight back from the Giants, telling SEN the 3-quarter time break came at the right time.
Everyone was like, this is what we wanted. We wanted a close final. We expected this. This is fine, and credit to the boys. We came in the last quarter and did well.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall, the Monday means test just after 10 o'clock. 10:30, Wayne Hawkes will be joining us. Zach Purton will be joining myself and Wayne Hawkes. Wayne Hawkes has just popped up there on our stream. You can watch us anytime you want on our SEN app. We're streaming live also on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. So, Wayne, treasure the moment. It's a mild case of colic. We'll still try and chase this story up, but it looks like she's okay. It would have been a scary morning for everybody involved. But from a trainer's perspective, what does that mean? Can you give us an insight there?
Righto, so the first thing you got to do is obviously the horse has to come out of the vet clinic. They've sent it to the vet clinic, which is what you want to do because you want to give it every possible, no matter what class of horse it is. So as quick as you get there, you'll be wanting to get home as quick as you can too, to get back in your own natural environment. But it really depends how bad a case it is. As I said, it just might be like a bit of wind, and what you're looking for is to pass manure, to be blunt. And as soon as that happens, then you know the gut is actually working to its fullest. So it might be just a very, very mild case, which we hope. It certainly sets you back because what happens is that you won't be running Saturday. Then you say, well, we'll run in 2 weeks' time, and then you go to the Cox Plate. Well, you're now going to be one run behind the ball game. So that might change everything to sort of say, well, you know what, maybe they go to Sydney and just run in the Golden Eagle. They don't worry about a Cox Plate. But it's easy for us to talk about that now. They will decide that when they know how well the horse is and when she's fully recovered, because you've got to be fully recovered, and then you need to work them, and then you need to gallop them and see how far behind you go. So it's certainly a chink in the armour. There's no doubt about that. But if it's just a little bit of a small bout, you got some chance. But I would think she'll struggle for a Cox Plate now if that's happened, so unless it's real quick and she's backing into it.
So the best case scenario, have you ever had a best case scenario when it comes to colic?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the best case is that it was nothing.
Yes.
I mean, it does happen from time to time. I get it. We all get it. So, as I said, a bit like parents with kids, and, you know, the babies need to burp and fart, to be totally blunt and honest, and that's what you're looking for, all those signs, and then away you go. So you're not going to gallop her tomorrow morning. You're not going to gallop a Thursday. So I would almost think she may not run Saturday. But I don't know all the information yet either. But you got to put her first because she's such a valuable horse. Well, you know, to be fair, doesn't matter whether they're worth $2.50. They've all got to be treated the same in this instance. And whether you're the vet, the farrier, the dentist, it doesn't matter whether they're the superstar or the worst horse in your stable. They get treated exactly the same by these people.
What about it'd be interesting to see, because we're going to talk about this anyway. So Yulong had a meeting after Treasure the Moment's victory in the Memsey there last week, and she was that good. Mr. Zhang decided that he didn't want them to clash before a Cox Plate. So Chris Waller changed his mind with Via Sistina. Well, Yulong did, and she goes to the 7 stakes now. And they've sent Aliana to Melbourne, or they'll send Aliana to Melbourne, and James McDonald will ride her in a Mackay Diva. But I just see nominations close at 12 o'clock. I don't know if they've had to change her training schedule via Sistina, but is there a chance that they could change that decision around now? Because I know Chris loves to keep to a plan that he's had success with before, and via Sistina was Mackay Diva into a Turnbull, into a Cox Plate. So is it too late to change their mind regarding via Sistina's plans now, and then an Aliana can go to a 7 stakes and keep to her plan before what happened there last week?
Yeah, okay. Without speaking on Chris's behalf, it would really, those decisions would need to be made today because of working track work tomorrow morning. You have to work your horse accordingly, but I don't know where she's at via Sistina from that point of view. Could you move it around again? You could. It wouldn't be the end of the world. But then the other thing that we don't know is we don't know how long Treasure of the Moment is going to be. Let's call it offline. So she mightn't be offline for very long. It might have just been a minor, very, very minor, and she might be bright back and bouncy and So, I wouldn't be throwing any, toys out of the cot just yet. But look, it's as we said last week, it's a great position to be in. But then when you've got to start making these decisions, do you run against each other? Don't you?
Yep.
That's when you start pulling your hair out. But Mr. Zhang's very lucky; he's got two of the best fillies in the country. So.
Yeah, we'll wish everybody the best of luck because I know Mr. Zhang, he loves Treasure the Moment. Treasure the Moment, despite everything the VS16 has done. And as Vin Cox pointed out when he was the boss or the GM of Yulong, when he was in that role, he sat with me in the studio and he did say that Treasure the Moment is the boss's favourite horse because he bred her. She had to survive the floods. She's been through a lot. And then for her to do what she's been able to do, he just loves her. So, yeah, we're thinking of everybody at Yulong because she is such a horse that they love so dearly there. So I think Aliana's already in Melbourne. Someone's just trying to tell me. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens anyway. The next category I want to have a chat to you about is the pattern. It was interesting there on Saturday, and it is a schmozzle at the moment because no one can get to the table. People are cancelling meetings, and you see what happened there on Saturday. You've got
who are people? Well,
Peter V'landys, I think he wasn't ready, or he didn't have enough time to turn up to the Racing Australia meeting last week.
Hang on. What happened? What happened, Gareth?
Well, there
last
was a
Monday,
racing.
Peter V'landys didn't turn up to the pattern meeting.
Yes. Yet other things. So that means that he doesn't really care about the pattern, or he thinks
I'm not sure.
There's more important factors in his world that he has to address to than having a meeting with the other bodies regarding the pattern. But it doesn't. It's a schmozzle because you have a look at what happened there on Saturday. You've got a Group 3 $1 million Concord Stakes, which probably had a better fit or better credentialed horses going around, like a Lady Shenandoah, Group 1 winner, Jimmy Star and a Headwall. So it was worth $1 million at Group 3 level. And then in Melbourne, you had a Group 1, $750,000 Moya Stakes. Work that one out, Wayne.
Well, that's a schmozzle because Victoria shouldn't have a race, a Group 1 race, worth $750,000, and they've got a few of them. So at the end of the day, I mean, every Group 1 in the country should be minimum $1 million. That's it. I mean, that should be the minimum criteria for a $1 million race. But it doesn't matter whether, from our point of view right now, it doesn't matter whether it's a Group 1 or Group 3. You have to go where you have to go for your horses. Now, if you look at it as a, devil's advocate, Troy Corstens and Bennett Racing, they were pretty happy that hardly anyone came to Melbourne to take them on. So it was always like the Australian Guineas, the Randwick Guineas being run on the same day. The Goodwood and the 10,000 when I was younger used to clash a lot. So at the end of the day, people say, oh, do we really want them not, those two races clashing? What if we just have one big race? That's a better spectacle, I suppose, for the industry. But from the participants that are putting the money in, it gives them a better, easier chance to win a great race. But the Everest is not. What is the Everest? It's nothing, isn't it?
So no, it's a Group 1 now.
It's not even in the pattern. It is a Group 1 now, correct.
The Golden
Eagle,
when it
wasn't a Group 1.
The Golden Eagle isn't.
There you go. So the Golden Eagle won't make any difference whether you win or whether you lose the Golden Eagle, because if you win the Golden Eagle and it's not a Group 1, people are still going to recognise that race. Yes went to start after he won the Everest, and it was a nothing race. So we want it sorted out because the pedigrees are our backbone. That is what the breeders spend all the money on. It's what we talk about with the stallions. So it is our blood. But the bottom line is, when you are in the training regime right now, it's really not worrying me whether the Concord's a Group 3 worth $1 million or the Moy's worth $750. We have to go where we have to go, and I've said this 1,000,001 times. Coles don't care about Woolworths, and Woolworths don't care about Coles. So we do need some reconciliation. We need every party to meet. There's no doubt about that, because even though we have our different racing calendars, the smallest person will travel with the best racehorse. So we want more nationally and things to happen nationally, but competition's good. Without Peter V'landys, we mightn't be running for the money that we were running with in Victoria. So it is what it is, but I don't think that's that big a deal as what some people are making.
I don't think, it doesn't matter to the people in the pubs. It matters to the breeders and the bloodstock people, I think, the pattern. depending. Some people it doesn't matter in the bloodstock world. You talk to Guy Mulcaster, who's one of the biggest bloodstock agents in this country. He says it doesn't matter to him, basically. Obviously, Peter V'landys believes that it's not a situation it's not a factor that he needs to spend a bit of time on at the moment. He's not hurried to fix the problem because he doesn't turn up to that meeting. So, but it just doesn't. It's losing its value in a way, Group 1 status, when you have that situation there on Saturday.
Maybe, but then you look at some of the other races around the country and they're, I love it when everyone says they're weak Group 1s. The bottom line is some are stronger than others. It's as simple as that. Where the mistake was probably made day one, when all these pop-up races came into New South Wales, they should have gone and grabbed some of the group races, the Group 1s and 2s already, and what they should have done was they should have just instantly changed that pop-up race to be that race. And then the Everest if the Everest was the Premier Stakes, let's say, it would have started off as a Group 2 from day one. You know what I mean? So the Wing Stakes wasn't called the Wing Stakes, but you could have made it the Everest and it could have been instantly a Group 1 race. That's what would have fixed that right from the get-go.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with plenty more. We'll talk about what happened regarding some of the cup horses there that were impressive, especially in Sydney across the weekend. Horses like Sir Dilius and Vauban. We've got our O-Nos and Yes, Yes, Yeses, and Zach Purton will be joining us just after 10:30 to discuss that performance of Carling Rising last night there at Sha Tin.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Lindemann shows the way by 2 lengths on Robusto, is flat out. Then Serdelius. Boy, Chaya Wolf's got some chasing to do. He's still 6 off them. Lindemann's giving a terrific sight in the lead. Inside the 200, Lindemann 2 in front of Serdelius is giving good chase now. Lindemann and Serdelius. Lindemann trying to cling on just. Lindemann a half head on the line to Serdelius, getting closest at the end. Vauban hitting top gear late into third. Chaya Wolf, well, he couldn't pick up the ground today. Then Bourbon
This Monday on the means test, the big race Integrity is the Chelmsford Stakes. First of all, Wayne, great ride by Natural Willer. We all thought that Lindemann would be able to get away with some nice sectionals out in front, but he rated that horse to perfection after it came off a failure there on a heavy track and a wing stakes. But he showed his class, and that was his opportunity to win a race like that, and he made full use of that opportunity come Saturday.
Yeah, he sure did. He did a good job. It was well noted before the race that he'd been racing on wet tracks and not handling it. So it's amazing up here in Sydney. 2 weeks ago when I was here, it was underwater, and on Saturday you looked at town on the bush and they were throwing up dirt. So there's a bit of rain forecast for this week, but it's as dry as a chip at the moment. But did a really, really good job, and I reckon it's going to be a pretty fair form race, this.
Yeah.
And, the second horse, he looks amazing. I was there in Brisbane when he won his first start in Australia, and he Sedelius, and he looks the real deal. And I mean, to have your second race start in Australia, and look, he got beaten by Bob of the Head. Let's be fair, he all but won the race, didn't he?
Yeah.
So imagine what we'd be saying about him if he had won the race. And can't believe it. Melbourne Cup favourite, third time lucky, Vauban. There'd be people listening that would have backed Vauban, and I don't know how he looks, but how he's racing, he can't race any better. He's going pretty good, that's for sure and certain.
So with Serdelius, I reckon he'll go to a Cox Plate on towards the Melbourne Cup. And they tell me Gai Waterhouse, were you at the races on Saturday?
I was in Sydney, yes.
Yeah,
I was at Randwick.
They tell me Gai Waterhouse was at Randwick for the first time in a long time. Is that right? Did you see her there?
I didn't see Gai at the races in Sydney on Saturday, but she hasn't been in the race in Sydney. I wouldn't have seen her in the race in Sydney for 7 years.
Okay.
It's a long time since she's been
We had
to
a
the
few
races
text messages
in
saying
Sydney,
that they saw Gai there at the races. So Serdelius...
She's allowed to be there. She has a licence to be there.
100%.
It's like when I go to Randwick, they say, "What are you doing here?" I say, "Well, I'm actually licensed to be here, believe it or not."
So Serdelius and Vauban, I reckon, is more of a chance to win a Caulfield Cup than he is a Melbourne Cup. Obviously, in front of a big crowd, he'll need to settle in the yard, but from all reports, he paraded perfectly there on Saturday. So it was a good day for the Waterhouse and Bot Camp regarding their two big staying stars. But this is what happened after the race as well, as we go to our steward's room.
Tim Clark, Serdelius.
Yeah, great return. He's a proper horse.
Adam Hieronymus, Vauban.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I couldn't be more pleased with the way he handled himself over this distance, and obviously the leaders dictated the race on a firm track, but obviously when he goes up in distance, there's going to be more pressure in the races that he's heading towards. It's really going to suit him, but I think he's in for a very, very good campaign.
Chad Schofield, Chaya Wolf.
Couldn't muster any gate speed, but we had a good run, travelled well, gave a little turn of foot off the bridle, and then just peaked the last little bit.
Tommy Berry, Birdman.
Yeah, he's got a nice race in him this time, but it was a leader-dominated race, and felt like he was good to the line.
Rachel King, Arapaho.
Very pleased with him. Miles obviously way short of his best, but pleased with his work late.
Jason Collett, Robusto.
Yeah, he's set outside lead. Look, he's probably better at cover over the mile, so yeah, told late.
Dylan Gibbons, Adelaide River.
Yeah, he's going okay. He just needs to iron a few things out.
James McDonald, Land Legend.
He's just looking for further.
Tyler Schiller, Full Count, Felicia.
Yeah, I think she's ticked all the boxes there. She just needs the right trip and maybe a softer track, but I was happy with the position she had in run. She just can't sprint as sharp as that.
Zach Lloyd, Athabaskan.
Yeah, good base for him. He'll be ready to build off that.
Karen McAvoy, Hutall.
Please, yeah, he's first up for a little break, but he moved well and his attitude was great, so another run or two and he'll be primed and ready to go.
Mr. Hawks and Mr. O'Neill, can you please report to the steward's room?
So that was the beaten jockeys, and in the steward's report it says Vauban inquiry was opened into Adam Hieronymus's riding in the middle stages and in particular circumstances that led to the stablemate Sir Dilius, which had been racing 3 wide and without cover, obtaining that position in advance of Vauban with cover behind Robusto near the 800-metre mark. After taking evidence from Adam Hieronymus and co-trainer Adrian Bott, the inquiry was adjourned to allow stewards to examine all aspects of the race. Wayne, your thoughts on that?
They're allowed to look at any race they want. So there's an inquiry. It doesn't mean to say anyone's guilty. That's what I'd say right off the top. So they're allowed to open inquiry. They're allowed to adjourn it to go and look at any other information they will. But it always never looks great when you've got a stablemate letting a stablemate in. But I mean, gee whiz, I remember Black Caviar racing. No one wanted to kill Bambi, did they? So where they all just let Luke Nolan slide into the 1-1. Let's be blunt about that. And I mean, that's not Luke Nolan's fault. I said back in the autumn, I said, come on, you Sydney jockeys, you need to kick up the backside, because I said you're letting J-Mac in time and time again. Hold him out there, keep him wide, make him earn his money. And I did say that, and everyone blew up at me because they said, you're picking on J-Mac. And it wasn't about picking on J-Mac. I was actually saying to the other jockeys, mate, sometimes you can't kick up, because if you do kick up, what might happen is you might get your horse over racing and things like that. But I'd need to see the stewards' footage. I didn't see it all properly, that race, but it never sounds good when the stablemates let the other stablemate in. But I mean, they're two pretty good riders, Adam Hieronymus and Tim Clark, and they're pretty legit blokes. So it's not like they're this happens regularly. But when you see there's two stablemates doing that, it never ever looks great. But you know what? There'll be an inquiry held, and I'm not sure whether anything would be done about it. Most times there isn't, because you actually have to prove that they were doing the wrong thing. And if you think about this, you got a 500 kilo horse, and you're manoeuvring it around. It's a special art what they do. Maybe Vauban was going too keen and he wanted to bring him back. I'm not sure. I don't know.
It's an easy case.
You'd have to ask Adam Hieronymus.
I can understand the stewards for asking that question, and good on them. But Adam Hieronymus just has to walk into the steward's room and say, this is what happened. I wanted to let Sir Dilius in because he was the better horse to follow. If I were following Robusto, he's a horse that probably doesn't fire without cover over the 1,600 metres. I probably would have had to be exposed too early. I had Charlwood on my back, so I thought my horse being first up, I was following a better horse if I let Sir Dilius in. And I reckon that was a better chance for me winning, as simple as that. And I reckon that is enough of a reason for the stewards to say, okay, then Adam, thanks for that. And
but also,
it wasn't like Sir Dilius is 100 to 1.
No, but also too, right? The rugby player misses the try. He misses the field goal. The AFL, they miss it 20 metres in front. They make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? Maybe Adam had his time over. He mightn't do that again. That doesn't mean to say they're cheating. That doesn't mean to say they're doing the wrong thing. No. You know what? They're all allowed a brain fade, and they have it regularly, because we're all human and it's split-second decisions. But mate, there's none more horrendous, I reckon, than if you watch an AFL and they got 30 seconds to line up, get their breath back, and kick a goal 20 metres in front, and some of them don't even kick a point. So, this stuff gets spectacularly, spectacular, becomes huge news and publicity and everything. And I don't know. I'm never for an open inquiry. I like an investigation is the new word that Racing Victoria started to use when it was behind closed doors, because straight away people think the negative, and the stewards are allowed to ask the questions. And I think good on them for asking the questions.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether all this stuff should be public. I've never been for that myself.
What'd you make of Charles Wolf?
Well, I thought he still ran a right, Charles Wolf. When you're back, you're running off fast tempos. They keep running. It's as simple as that. So his run was still pretty good, I thought. I mean, he still kept getting the line. Maybe the last 100 he probably had enough. I did see him after the race. I mean, he looks great. I was only 4 stalls down from him, and he was having a nice blow, and you knew he'd had a good hard run. And it's the same old, same old. You're never going to win as many as what you should when you're a back marker.
Yeah.
If you have a choice between being Might and Power and Black Caviar and jumping and leading, let's do it. Because if Black Caviar was a back marker, I don't know whether she would have won 25 out of 25 yards. So at the end of the day, I still reckon he went it right. Now let's go to the flip side. Would Via Sistina have won that race? Yeah, I reckon she would have. I reckon she would have. But is Cheerwolf in her class? No, he's not, because he hasn't won 100,000 Group 1s, and that's not bagging the horse. He's run into some really, really good horses, but, that winner couldn't run any better. I mean, if I'm I'm not into the stuff like that, but I reckon if you ask your guys, was the winner and the second horse both personal bests? I reckon they'd say they probably were. So the track was firm. You know what I mean? And they're running along, and they just kept running. It's pretty hard to pull off a stack of ground off those horses. And the problem is, everyone looks at the last start going, well, he flew home and he went round wide, and he should have probably gone up the inside, and he nearly should have won. But Saturday was a different race, a bit further, everything like that. I still would give him one. I'd still give him one more chance, but he does need to step up. But as I said, remember one thing: he doesn't have the best racing pattern, and he's slow out the gates. He didn't muster speed, and you're always a sitting shot, aren't you?
He doesn't help himself. It's 10:31. We'll take the news on the other side of it. Zach Purton will be joining us.
Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. Aaron Patterson jailed for life for triple murder over a mushroom lunch that killed 3 family members. A new aviation consumer protection scheme is being considered that would set minimum standards for compensation for delayed or cancelled flights. A study by SafeWill shows younger Aussies are 4 times more likely to rely on an inheritance to buy a home than older generations. And from now, Crows and Hawks members are lining up for tickets to this Friday night semi-final, which of course you can hear live right here on SEN. Coming up, sen.com.au sport. Hawthorn's Dylan Moore says the team is looking to steer the momentum from the weekend's win over GWS into Friday night semi-final against the Crows. It almost came undone after a spirited fight back from the Giants, telling SEN the 3-quarter time break came at the right time.
Everyone was like, this is what we wanted. We wanted a close final. We expected this. This is fine, and credit to the boys. We came in the last quarter and did well.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Together, 3/4 over. Carrying Rising, they've cleared out 3 lengths to Beauty Waves, and then came Lucky Swain S. The reins shaken at the world's best sprinter, and Carrying Rising, he put 2 lengths on bottom up together. Then Lucky Swain S and Beauty Waves, but it's Carrying Rising well clear. It's an easy trek to base camp now to climb Everest.
It was a great call by Mark McNamara. It was great to see Carrying Rising there back at the races at Shah 10. And just the response everywhere around the world regarding this horse's performance there. First up yesterday, he is taking world racing by storm, and as Mark pointed out, his next assignment will be in Australia for the Everest. His rider, Zach Purton, had a day out with 5 winners as well, and the champion hoop joins myself and Wayne Hawkes for the Monday means test on Giddy Up on this Monday. Well done, Zach.
Thank you. It's a good way to start the season.
Yes.
Very exciting to have Carrying Rising back, and even better to see him come back as good as he has.
So he smashed the clock. First of all, what was the track like there? Because watching it from afar and looking at the weather updates there before that meeting at Shah 10, it looked like it was raining quite heavily during certain stages of that day. But we all know that Shartin is a remarkable track when it comes to wet weather.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I was in a bit of a flap in the days leading up to the race meeting, watching the weather forecast all the time because the typhoon was due to come. And as I sit here now, there is a T8 signal up. The track was closed this morning. There's a lot of wind and we've had a lot of rain. But leading up to the race meeting yesterday, we had a few really heavy showers of rain before the meeting even started, and then we had rain on and off throughout the day. But the track just raced so well. It really didn't feel like it was rain affected at all until later in the day. Once we'd cut it up a little bit and had a little bit more rain, there was a little bit of give in it, but I wouldn't even say it was out of the good range. It raced like a good track all day.
No, that is unbelievable, really. So I guess we didn't have those questions answered. We wanted to see what he'd be like on a rain-affected track, but we'll have to wait and see if that ever happens.
Yeah, they don't run the time that he ran. What was it, 176? 176 on a rain-affected track. And I do laugh a little bit when they try and say raced on a wet track at the same meeting last year. I went back and had a look at the time he run. He ran 108.1, so that tells you that wasn't a wet track either.
Wayne, what did you make of the performance of Kaying Rising?
Got to be impressed with him. You can't do any more than what he did. Obviously, it's hard to line up the. You can line up the rest of them behind him. They're nowhere near as good as him, and I wouldn't take anything. I'm not taking anything away from this horse, but if the Briasses and the Jimmy Stars and those horses were swapped with Kaying Rising, they would be dominating as well. So, and that's not bagging Kaying for 1 second, but what it's going to do now is it's just going to make the Everest one hell of a race, isn't it? So he did what he had to do, and the others are starting to step out and have stepped out last weekend. So the Everest is going to be an almighty race. But Zach, he is the perfect horse because you can ride him off the pace and you say, "Wool boy," he just puts his head between his legs and goes to sleep. And you give him 3 digs, he jumps, goes straight to the front. Then you say, "Wool boy," and he goes to sleep again. I mean, is this just like feeding him? Seriously, is it like driving a Ferrari where you've just got as many gears as what you want?
Yeah, it is a bit. His versatility is what sets him apart from other horses, especially sprinters that I've ridden, as you would be well aware. With these sprinters, when you give them a bit of a signal, they can just want to go flat out and run, and they can become a little bit uncontrollable. But this guy is very push button in that sense. You can dig him up, ask him to come back. He can lead, sit outside, lead, take a sit. He's the most. He's the easiest horse I've ridden as a sprinter in my career. He's a joy to do anything with.
Did he even exceed your expectations with how easy he did it yesterday?
Oh, he did, because he had to give £20 away to the majority of the field yesterday. Obviously, Lucky Swainess, we didn't have to give him £20. I can't remember what he carried now. I think we might have had to give him £7 or £8. But the rest of them we had to give £20 to, so that's not easy in itself. He did have 2 trials going into the race, whereas the other horses had only had 1 trial, so he might have had a slight fitness edge, and that could have helped as well. But just to do it the way that he does it and run the time that he does, and but to look at him, what I was most impressed about was looking at him in the parade ring. He just looks like a different horse now. He's furnished, he's stronger, he's more relaxed. He's really just taken that next step that we were hoping he was going to take.
Can you get a feel what he would do on a rain-affected track?
I can't, no.
Not even on the dirt when you can't. You will just have to wait and see.
You could probably get a little bit of a read from the dirt, but I think this horse is even better on the dirt than he is on the grass. The way he works in the mornings, it's like he's not even moving. He just glides across the track on the dirt. So, if there was enough money at the Breeders' Cup, we'd probably take him there and run him on the dirt. But it's at a similar time as the Everest, and you're not going to be going to America for a couple of peanuts when you can go to the Everest for a little bit more.
What do you say about the opposition he's beating up at the moment compared to what he might have to meet in an Everest?
It's very difficult to line them up. A horse like Helios Express, I think, would be a very good sprinter in Australia, and he'd probably be a multiple Group 1 winner by now. The other horses he's been racing against, you could put a question mark over them and say, are they up to the sprinters in Australia? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But But, we're never going to find out until we sort of marry them up, and we have our opportunity to do that next month.
And what was it like there? Obviously the weather wasn't any good, but what about the crowd and that turning up to watch him yesterday?
It was a big crowd. Yeah, it always is for the season opening meeting. The chief executive was there. Simon Fuller was there with his One Nation group, so that added another element to it. And they had some singer that opened the day as well. I just can't remember his name. But yeah, it was busy. There were a lot of people there, and it was good to see everyone come back out.
Have you given up yet, Wayne?
No. As I've kept saying, there's one thing that Kagan Rising has to do. He's got to go into quarantine. He's got to travel back to Australia. He has to acclimatise back in here. And I know he's come from New Zealand to Australia and gone up there, but that wasn't in full racing condition. And I know how hard it is to go between Melbourne, Sydney and Brisbane. It's not easy. So for the Europeans to come out to Australia and win Melbourne Cups, it's doable. Absolutely it is. We took Chautauqua to Hong Kong. But what they're doing is they're bringing their best horse to Australia, taking on our best, and you need your best. There's no point coming with B graders thinking that you're going to win. So, no, I'm not giving up. I don't think he's $1.80 pop myself. If he was here on the day and today is race day and he was $1.80, I'd say fair enough. But I couldn't have him at $1.80 only because you're so far away from the race and things are going to happen, things are going to change. So whether it's the Hong Kong influence that's made him $1.80 favourite, but as Zach will attest to, you'd much rather be 10-1 and everyone leaving you alone than the $1.80 favourite. But Zach's the question I asked earlier about how he races is going to be important, because obviously when the barrier comes out, Gareth, Zach will be able to do whatever he wants to do, and that's going to be his advantage. We were just talking about Cheer Wolf before. He's fairly one-dimensional. He races back off the speed and he needs things to go his way, whereas Kane Rising sets himself up, and our bloke's a bit the same Browser. He went back in a Galaxy and flew home and should have won, and he can jump and sit outside the lead or box seat. So when you're talking the great horses, they make everyone's job much, much easier. And the time that he ran yesterday was a bit freakish, and everyone's obviously been talking about the times that he ran, but they always run. It's amazing the great horses always run great times against lesser opposition, but when you're up against the great horses, it pulls them back into gear, because what you're doing is you're going to be taking on harder, stronger, tougher horses, and it's going to be a lot harder for Zach, and I would assume you'd agree with me, Zach. It's going to be much harder for you and your horse taking on the best of the best, because you can only beat what you can beat up there, and that's not bagging anyone, but I keep saying it's going to set up for one hell of a race.
Yeah, I agree with everything you say there, Wayne, and Private Harry's got a very similar racing style to us, so we're both going to be up there, eyeballing each other, and at the end of the day, it's going to be the strongest man that's standing.
Who's your biggest danger right now? You would have saw Lady Shenandoah, Headwall won there on the weekend, so there was a couple of horses that put their hand up for an Everest, or are you waiting to see Briasa and Private Eye back at the races? Jimmy Starr also went around?
Yeah, I think the ones you've mentioned, Browser, Private Harry, Lady Shenandoah, to me, they're the ones that probably stick out the most at the moment. Obviously, Timmy Starr gets back, speed will be on, he'll get his chance to close strong. He's going to have to spot them a bit of a start, but the race will be certainly run to suit him. It's not going to be a slowly run race, we'll put it that way. So every horse is going to get their chance.
Well, it was great to see him back at the races. It was something else to run that time. It's a good yielding track, but what a track it is at Sha Tin. To run that time was absolutely spectacular from a horse that is capturing the imagination of not just racing fans but sporting fans. And the Everest is going to be like no Everest before because of your horse, Zach. And well done with 5 winners as well. Just a lazy day at the office to kick off proceedings. You'll get 200 winners this year. Well done, mate.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
There's Zach Purton there. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more of the means test next.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Let's get to a few questions before we wrap up the means test. No O-No's today, Wayne. You got no O-No's for us?
Well, I don't think I have, actually. It's a pretty good weekend for everyone, really, wasn't it? I mean, you can always find one, of course, but no, I reckon it was a pretty good weekend. So I don't think racing was the big winner there with so many good horses out and about. So let's. Johnny's not here, so it's his segment anyway, not mine.
The curiosity, I think, about these Godolphin horses that have been having success to start their new season. What's your take on all of that? Because Pericles was successful, of course, first up for Bjorn Baker on the weekend, Wayne.
These horses weren't broken when they were finished with James Cummings, so of course they're going to come back and they're going to win. And if I had Pericles and those horses, to be honest, I'd have them jammed up to be winning first up. I wouldn't be going in half soft and whatever. You're trying to make an impression, aren't you? So I did hear what you said earlier on about the curiosity and are these horses going better? Well, some of them will improve. There's no doubt because they were immature and needed time and everything like that. But James Cummings, I don't think any horse has done anything more than what it should have, because if Pericles had a one on Saturday with James Cummings training it, no one would have said a word, obviously, would they?
I think you can judge all of that in 12 months' time, but he was impressive in the tramway, and as Bjorn Baker pointed out, he was ready to rumble this horse because that was probably one of his races this campaign, the tramway, and he was at a big price at the end of the day. Hey, Wayne, speaking through my pocket, I thought Swift Falcon would have run a bit better on Saturday, but I won't drop off him. That's from Steve.
You can't jump him. So Swift Falcon's a bit like Cheerwolf, isn't he? I know I've stuck up for him, and I thought his run was pretty good. He was back in behind him. He couldn't get a crack at him.
Yeah.
He had, what's Henry Field's horse, the old horse that should be retired?
Militarise. He went okay.
Militarise. It wasn't James's fault, but Militarise was in our road, and then by the time we finally got out, he hit the line. Tyler Schiller got off with a fat smile and went, geez, he's going great, isn't he?
Okay.
So he doesn't win that often, but he's going super.
Thank you, Wayne. I've got a few mates already counting their cash on Kaying, and I'm actually against it in the Everest. I can't cop the odds given. There's so many unknowns. Travel and a high-quality field.
Yep.
And with the Whirlpool in play, you'll probably start $1.50, which is right. $1.80 at the moment is probably value with Bet365.
Well, it might be, but my point was that you might as well just wait until race day and take $1.50 because you can watch him in the mounting enclosure, can't you?
Yeah.
Whereas taking $1.80 about him now before all these other horses are. Put it this way: in 4 weeks' time, every horse is going to be exposed. We're going to know the exact form, and he might be shorter price because others haven't gone as good, and vice versa. But the end result is, I just reckon he's very, very short for taking a horse on that's in another country right now that's not going to have another run.
Yeah.
And we are going to go in rock hard fit. We are. He's going to have to be at his absolute best. And his best might be good enough. But I'd rather be in Australia going up the road half an hour than having to travel from Hong Kong through quarantine.
I'll take a break and I'll come back and we'll ask you about nepotism, who steps out, I think, in the Run to the Rose on Saturday at Rose Hill.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up to wrap up the means test. Wayne Hawkes, what do you got to look forward to Saturday? Do we get to see nepotism back?
Yeah, nepotism's back on Saturday, so it'll be good. The Run the Rose is going to be a good horses race. They obviously run on their Run the Rose, then they run into the Golden Rose. You got the Mackay Diva Stakes Day. Gee whiz, there's going to be some proper horses running around in Sydney and Melbourne this Saturday. It'll be a good spot to be on the couch, that's for sure and certain.
Is Devil Knight taking on nepotism in the Run to the Rose?
Yes, he will. Yeah, he will run on the Run to the Rose as well. So even the support card's going to be great. You know, Melbourne. There's going to be so many good horses running in Melbourne as well on the weekend. So
and have you opened?
It's going to be a great weekend of
I've got
racing.
50 seconds. Have you opened your doors for that Flemington Open Day? You can register that. You got to go to the VRC website. That's on Sunday week, I think it is, the Flemington Open Day. I'll turn up and cook the barbecue if you open your doors, Wayne.
Not opening the doors for you, Gareth. Why weren't you at the trots on Sydney?
I was sick.
You're a bit of a fan at the trot.
I
said, "Where's Gareth? Where's Gareth? Where's Gareth?"
I had vertigo the other day, so I meant crook. But anyway, I've had to find a way under difficult circumstances. But I wish I was at the trots as well.
Going Rising, get him down here. Let's go.
107, Wayne Browse will need have to have a tightrope to keep up. Thanks for that, Wayne.
Times, don't worry about the times.
News time.
Powered by Signet. Hello there, I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News.
The total effective sentence is life imprisonment, and I fix a non-parole period of 33 years. Would you please remove Ms Patterson?
Well, as you've just heard, convicted mushroom cook killer Erin Patterson has been sentenced to life in prison for the murders of 3 of her in-laws. In handing down a 33-year non-parole period, Justice Christopher Beale taking into account her incarceration conditions, where she'll be in solitary confinement for the majority of her time behind bars. Not until the year 2058 will Patterson be eligible for parole. It is expected she will appeal. In other news, it's an intense fight for the AFL chairman's job to be vacated by Richard Goyder. Former Channel 9 and Magpies boss Jeff Brown was the early frontrunner, but News Corp is reporting mate Eddie Maguire has thrown his support behind former Dogs president Peter Gordon, who now appears to be the favourite. The coalition remains in damage control after comments by Jacinta Price. The Indian-Australian community was left in shock after the frontbenchers said they were let into the country to boost votes for Labor. There are calls for opposition leader Susan Lee to urge the senator to apologise. The federal government's asking for feedback about a new scheme which would ensure minimum compensation for airline passengers who have flights cancelled or delayed. And more than a quarter of people living in capital cities relocated to the regions in the June quarter. Up next, sen.com.au sport. We have a new world number 1 tennis player after Carlos Alcaraz won the US Open this morning, downing Yannick Sinner 3-1. It's the Spaniard's second Flushing Meadows trophy and 6th major title. And St Kilda's off-season recruiting spree continues. Giants defender Leek Alir is reportedly poised to request a trade to the Saints.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Giddy Up bag of tips for Oz Equipment Rentals. Supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Gareth Hall with you on this Monday morning. It's 4 minutes past 11. Time to find you a few winners with bag of tips. Thanks to Oz Equipment Rentals, supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com. The mighty Ultima Hotel in the heart of the Melly, just down the road from Swan Hill. Swing by for a cold beer. And with Bet365 Top Tote Plus, you get the best payout across all three national totes. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Thanks to racing.com. Nick Noonan joins us. A 10-race program at Tatura this afternoon. Conditions there at the moment in the Golden Valley. Good for the rails. True. G'day, Nick.
Hey Gareth, hey team. Yeah, we've got a big card of racing today from Tatura with the 10 races.
Yes.
I think it's not a bad program. Could shoot fairly straight. A few of those favourites look very well placed throughout the day. So definitely looking to hone in a few of them throughout the course of betting today.
Yeah, a lot of short price favourites from some of our bigger stables. So where do we start with your plays, mate?
Two horses I was keen on today's card. Race 5, number 4, Tierra. I'm going to make her the best bet of the day. Unfortunately, the main danger came out this morning. So the prices are not as good as what it was throughout sort of the course of betting, but I think at around even money seems a fair enough price for her. Brings in strong form. She ran the third last start at Geelong. That winner, Active Duty, since gone on to run second at Morphettville. She drops back in grade. Her runs this campaign have been in much stronger form races than her opposition, so happy to play with her. I think she's the best today. She'll just get a nice stalking run, probably in behind the leader, I would have thought. And yeah, she's probably close to a good thing today. And then the other play I was keen to have was race 9, horse number 2, the Bantam for the Stanley stable. He ran really well first up at Sandown. He actually recorded the quickest last 200 of the meeting there. Then it went to a strong benchmark 64 last start at Bendigo. The run was okay. Drops back in grade. He goes up in distance. I think it's a really suitable assignment for him. So race 5, number 4, and race 9, number 2 were the keenest I was from a punting point of view today at Tatura.
Thoroughly enjoyed your work, mate, on Saturday morning with the first word with your brother, entertaining as always, and then on correct weight. So it was a big weekend of racing. Unfortunately, the news breaking this morning that, well, we first found out that James McDonald was definitely coming to Melbourne to ride Aliana and he was going to meet Treasure of the Moment. Then sadly, we heard the news of Treasure of the Moment. They got a minor bout of colic. She's at the vet as we speak, and hopefully she's okay and she gets through that, and then we get to see her throughout the spring. But, yeah, we won't get to see her take on Aliana and the Maccabi Diva.
Yeah, it's disappointing news. And I saw the news probably before anyone else. I saw that tweet from Matt Laurie Stable before it had any likes or any retweets. No. So I got straight onto it and backed Aliana. So now I'm sitting on an okay price there, but I'm a bit scared they're going to bring VS Justina down now. So
yeah, that
might be your job for the rest of the morning for me. Go find out if VS Justina's coming, because I'm a bit nervous at the moment.
I've sent a few text messages trying to find out what's going on, but no bites back yet. But they had to 12 o'clock before those nominations closed. So, yeah, I guess they can change plans now. And Aliana was going to stay for the 7 stakes, and then VS Justina was always going to come to the Maccabi, to the Turnbull, to the Cox Plate. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But as soon as I find out, I'll let you know, mate.
All right, well, I'll be nervously waiting in the meantime.
And we can watch you on racing.com today. The first race is at 12:55, so the coverage starts at 12:30?
Yep, 12:30 today. Yep. Myself, Ed Sadler, and we've got Kev Casey out on course to bring us all the interviews. So
what a lineup.
An A-team assembled.
Yes, what a lineup. Thanks, mate. We appreciate your help as always.
Thanks, team.
There's Nick Noonan from racing.com. Let's catch up with Hayden Black, because Shay Nichols and Hayden Black have got some nice chances engaged there at Tatura this afternoon. G'day, Hayden. Thanks for your time, mate.
Hi, Gareth. No problem.
First of all, how did Esha pull up?
She's okay. She knows she's had a run, but she had a quiet morning this morning, and yeah, she's all right.
Oh, okay. Do we see her again this carnival?
We'll give her a quiet week, and then Shane will sit down with the owners. But yeah, there's a couple of options for her like the Scarborough Stakes, that could be an option, 1,200 metres at Moonee Valley on Manikato night. So, that may be an option for us going forward.
You had a couple of nice chances at Tatura today. Race number 6, you got, I think it's race number 6. You got 2 strong chances anyway in the same race, Serena Diamonds and Super Groovy. Can you split those two?
Serena Diamond, she's a pretty tough, consistent mare that just keeps finding one or two better. She'll get a good run from the inside draw today. Super Groovy, she's drawn a bit awkward, but she'll roll forward. I'd probably lean towards Serena Diamond. She'll get a good run from Barrier 1, Lockie Nindorf on, and the Tatura track should really suit it.
Yeah, and she deserves the breakthrough. She's consistent, Serena Diamond. So she's race 4, number 12, and Super Groovy is in the same race, horse number 11. And then you got to wait a little longer for race number 9. And talking about another consistent galloper for your stable, Hide Your Assets. She's never far away, and this looks a winnable race despite the gate for her today.
Yeah, definitely. She's drawn a bit awkward. Obviously, the horse of Frank Stanley could be pretty hard to beat. But, we'll give Lockie a bit of a licence to sort of ride how we find her from that tricky draw. She presents up really well. She looks great. Was a bit unlucky last time at Wangaratta. So, she'll be a good chance if she can get a bit of luck.
So your best chance there today, in your eyes, mate?
I think Serena Diamonds from gate 1, she should get every chance today.
So that's race 4, number 12. Good to see Ash has pulled up okay. We appreciate your time this morning, mate, and good luck.
Thank you.
There's great to catch up with Hayden Black today, obviously in partnership now with Shane Nichols. Our Bet365 boost horse today, we're going to Tatura race 6, number 9, Cheeky Kentucky. $2.40 from $2 to $2.40. So that boost will last until the rest of the day, or rest of the show, to 12 o'clock. So $2 to $2.40, our boost horse with Bet365. That's Cheeky Kentucky. We'll catch up with Cam Luke and Campbell Brown are on this afternoon on SEN Track. And at Tamworth today, Cam Luke likes race 3, number 10, Fast Blue. Race 5, number 6, Fake, and race 6, number 5, Debo. So race 3, number 10, race 5, number 6, race 6, number 5. And at Tatura, Cam Luke likes race 3, number 5, Grassburn, and race 6, number 11, Chili Tycoon each way. So race 3, number 5, race 6, number 11. And Campbell Brown just likes a couple today. Race 3, number 1 at Tamworth, Denori. At Tatura, he's got 3 chances he likes. Race 2, number 12, Sue Cat. Race 4, number 2, Not Another Naughty, and race 8, number 10, Stylish Gem. So that's the story at Tatura there for Campbell Brown and his best bets there at Tatura. Hey, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with plenty more straight after this.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Great to have your company as we continue on Bag of Tips. So just recapping Cam Luke and Campbell Brown's tips today. Cam Luke at Tamworth likes race 3, number 10, Fast Blue. Race 5, number 6, Fake. Race 6, number 5, Debo. And at Tamworth for Campbell Brown, he likes race 3, number 1, Denori. And at Tatura, race 3, number 5 for Cam Luke, he likes Grassburn. Race 6, number 11, Chili Tycoon each way. Just the one play for Brownie there at Tatura, race 2, number 12, Zoo Cat. Darren Carroll joins us, Maryborough today in the Trots of Victoria. G'day, Daz.
Morning, Gareth. Not a bad meeting at Maryborough today. There's 2 races I've identified. Race 4 is a 2-year-old trotters race.
Yeah.
Look, they're not the best batch of 2-year-old trotters that we've seen so far. And number 2, Not Another Naughty, I've really liked its trials. It's trained by Hugh Cattles at Cranbourne, and he does a really good job with a small team and doesn't have horses very often. But this one here looks reliable, and got Jason Lee on board, and we know he can drive trotter better than anyone else. Expect at $4 is bet early this morning. I think it's got right in now, but I really do like it. So race 4, number 2. And the other one is in race 8. It's probably more of an each-way bet, and that's number 10, Stylish Jim. It's been running its recent races at Mildura, hitting the line really strongly. I think a bigger track looks to be speed in this race. Any tempo will just help it get over the top of them late. So it's probably more of an each-way bet, the one in the last. That's race 8, number 10, Stylish Jim.
So race 4, number 2, race 8, number 10. What'd you make of Menangle there on Saturday night? Bay Biscay able to lead all of the way. Geez, he ran some time, especially in the last half of that race. I don't know about these 2,300 metre races at Menangle. They've become ball fests at the end of the day. But
it's probably more predictable than what we probably should have interpreted, Gareth.
Yeah.
Really, there was only 2 horses in the race that had the ability to be put in the race. We were probably thinking the other one was the Jess Tubbs runner as well, but it went back to last, so it probably there was really no chance from there. And then once it got in front, Bay of Biscay was just too hard to run down, but there's not enough superlatives for what Emma Stewart's done in that race, really.
Yeah, unbelievable.
4 out of the top 5, really. Sometimes we just, because they're so successful, I think we sometimes forget to acknowledge what an unbelievable job they do. But 4 out of the top 5 is just extraordinary, so they deserve all the credit they can possibly get.
Yeah, Bay Biscay's been a great horse, and he deserved another big one. And I think I read in a report there from Adam Hamilton he might head to Victoria for the Victoria Cup. It was a terrific performance. And then I can't believe that CER went 147 to win a Len Smith Mile.
Well, that's the spot to be, though, Gareth. If they go that quick and you get a cheap run, then it was just the opportunist. But if you go back and have a look at the replay, horses like Oliver Dean got checked at the vital stage. If he got any clear run, he would have been right in it too. But did got some big runs in the race. Kingdom was fantastic in the front and set it up, I suppose. But he was brave. Swayze looked gone at the 200 or 300. He
just kept
back
coming.
Probably only beat the 6 or 7 metres.
Yeah.
And we know the mile's not really his go.
No, and it just proves that we're discussing the time of carrying rising in a way, but these horses can run time if they get the right run and follow speed and the conditions suit. Like that horse has never ever gone 147 yard.
No.
Never.
No. But, 3 fence can be a great spot in big races, and time and time again, if the right gaps open at the right time, they can win from there.
How'd you go with your staking plan now?
Remus Phoenix was a good result for us, Gareth.
Yes.
I had 3 bets, and the one in the first Curio Gentleman let me down, but the 2-year-old won. So, it was a profit.
And well done to Ryan Fielding. He had the Statesman around $7-8.
Yeah,
Keogh Gentleman.
into that.
Yeah, Keogh Gentleman was backed off the map. You had a good day, actually. You dominated once again. Well done to Ryan and yourself.
Yeah, they bet as much as $9, Remus Phoenix on Saturday morning, Gareth.
Did they?
Yep.
9, what did it start?
About 280, I think, in the end.
Anyway, too good.
So, we might have given too much information away. I wasn't quick enough to snap it up to $9. Someone beat me to it. So, anyhow, hopefully it's one of the listeners out there.
That's the Melbourne form panel, of course. The Friday form panel, I should say.
Friday
the Melbourne
form
form panels on Saturday with the Gallops on RSN, but the Friday form panel on SEN Track at 12 o'clock every Friday, and it's been just a recipe for success. D. Carroll and Arfield and of late have been finding winners for fun. Good on you, mate.
Yeah, Ryan was a really good push for the Statesman, wasn't he? It still went around about $8 or $8. So.
No, unbelievable. He's in good form, Arfield, and so it was a good day for those listeners. Thanks, mate.
Good to go.
Harness Racing New South Wales are home to the Carnival of Cups where Australian music royalty meets quality harness racing action. Menangle, race 7, number 1, Double Lou. The tip there from Amanda Rando. And race 8, number 7, Rockley Image. So race 7, number 1, race 8, number 7. The tips there for Amanda Rando at Menangle. Zach Tunbridge joins us thanks to Bet365. G'day, Zach. Good morning, Zach. Oh, we did have him. Now we lost him. He won't be far away. Well done, too, with the multi. The weekend preview team were on song with the multi there on the weekend. So they had to fill up with Headwall finishing top 4. I think he's ready to go. G'day, Zach.
Morning, G. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you, mate. It was a good day for the weekend preview followers with the multi. Rosberg, tick, Lindemann, tick, Headwall, and Moy finished second. So not only did we have that top 4 multi, they all finished in the top 2, and Moy just went down. So it was an easy watch.
Could have gone top 3.
Yep. What about the 6-horse challenge? 11 customers got 5.
Yeah, so I think probably the one that maybe would have fell off was Pericles. But look, a lot of people got 4. So you're getting Desert Lightning, Barracuda, Lafracus, Headwall, Pericles, and well timed. 11 of those people got $900 put in their account though for tipping 5. Were you one of them?
No, you know what? I would have got 4, 3, but Desert Lightning I wouldn't have had Barracuda. I would have had Alabama Lass. I didn't have Lafracus. I had the Cepha. Headwall I had Lady Shenandoah. Pericles I had, and I had Point and Shoot instead of well timed. So I wasn't far off, but it's on paper that looks easy, but it's not.
Who was it that tipped Lindemann in the weekend
Mickey
preview?
Gannon.
Which one of the boys?
Mickey Gannon was all over Lindemann.
Cracker. There was a lot.
We just lost Saki there. We'll get him back in just a moment. You there, Zach?
I'm here, mate. Yep, you got me.
Yeah, well, Mickey Gannon was all over Lindemann.
Yeah, I was just saying that a lot of people tipped me Lindemann on the weekend, so the fact it stayed around $11 when a lot of people had it on top was good. Good win.
Yeah. And it's interesting today with these markets being turned upside down. Unfortunately, Treasure the Moment's out of the Maccabi Diva. Eliana goes there. So that market's been turned upside down. And then you've got the Everest, Carling Rising, doing what he did there yesterday. What price is he for the Everest now?
Yeah, speaking on the Maccabi Diva, I think Noms Finnick closed at about 12 so I think they'll probably go up around then. Yeah, so I think they'll go up around then. Car Ying, look, it was enormous. So I think it only just firmed 5 cents. I mean, it sounds short, but $1.75, I think we're still offering like $1.83 or something if you want to take a boost. But very short, but interesting to see which one of these starts getting slots. Like obviously I've heard you talk about Lady Shenandoah this morning, and we've had to firm her by 3 points as well. So that's at $8. But Car Ying Rising, I mean, if it travels well, it's going to be very tough.
Yeah, Carling Rising's definitely the horse to beat. Lady Shenandoah will get a slot. There's no doubt about that. So she'll be in that race. Headwall's still got to earn his spot, I think, because there's not too many slots left. It's
do you think Headwall will get a slot?
I think he will, but it's either got to come from like whether they buy a slot. I don't know how it's going to work. Because there's a lot of the slot holders. The slot holders have got their own horses, or they'll be looking for like Newgate. I would imagine would be trying to get horses that are side by one of their stallions before they go down a different horse's path, if you know what I mean.
Well, one of the traders here, as long as Headwall gets a start, he's bet me a case of beer that it'll beat Car Ying Rising home. So that'll be interesting to see.
So were you going to give us 220 or something about Car Ying Rising?
Yeah, we'll see if he'll push it out if he's not keen. But yeah, look, I don't know. I have no idea what price is going to start on the day.
Yeah. Oh, who knows? He'd be you would want to back him now, I reckon, fixed odds if you like him, because he's going to be with the Whirlpool in operation. If you get top tote with Bet365, even top tote plus, you're still going to get unders because of the Whirlpool. There's no doubt about that. All the money that will come from Hong Kong with Carling Rising. The Manikato is interesting.
Crazy, yeah.
Lady Shenandoah v Barrack Hill, the Concord v the Moya Stakes form lines.
Yeah, I think so. Like Barrack Hill was surprising. I didn't think, I wasn't with him on the weekend, but and it was a drifter for us on the day, but a crack and win. And was it sixes in the 450 with us for the Manikato?
Yeah.
I guess the bit of a rough watch was Skybird. I was on Skybird at a bit of a decent price, and it was really well supported with us. That was a real tough watch. But I love the Manikato. What do you reckon?
Well, I think Lady Shenandoah is going to be the one to beat. She's $3 now. That's probably rock bottom, because she'll still need some luck around Moonee Valley. But if she gets it, I think she's the best horse in the race. What's the market doing with Angel Capital regarding a Sir Rupert Clark or Manikato?
Yeah, so look at the Sir Rupert Clark first. In that, Angel Capital's $4. Equal favourite with Sepples. I know Sepples was enormous the other week, right? So in terms of the Manikato, Lady Shenandoah, like you just said, $3. So we'll give you $3.50 actually if you want it. There's a boost there. But Barrack Hill's $4.50 and Angel Capital's $6, equal with War Machine. So I think both of those races are pretty good. But Lady Shenandoah, $3 is pretty short. You can get $3.50, but yeah, Barrack Hill was real good. I wasn't expecting that.
Pericles was good. It looks like he'll go towards an Epsom now. Or he might go to a 7 stakes, so that'll be interesting. And I can't believe the price he started, but there was some money for him in the tramway.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, Pericles, surprising. Wasn't one of mine, but there was some money pretty late for it. I'll tell you one that they did back before the market went down this morning is Tom Kitten at double figure odds. So some people were pretty smart this morning before markets went down. But yeah, if we look at the Epsom, like you just said, Autumn Glow is very short, but then you've got the others that might firm a bit. But look, it's all happening. It's very exciting.
And just the last one before we let you go, what's the moves there for Sir Dilius and Vauban especially, even Birdman after the Chelmsford Stakes ahead of the big cups?
Let me just pull it up. They did give me some info for the Birdman. Chelmsford. Yeah. So Sir Delius, that on the day was a bit of a drifter too.
Was he, yeah?
People started coming for Lyndon. Yeah. But look, it was a little firm for Sir Delius. I think then they're all going to start fluctuating a fair bit more too, I think. But yeah, I know these cups are pretty exciting and they're pretty open.
They are open, and it's interesting, to see where the money's coming from. So yeah, Sir Dilius is now the clear favourite with Bet365 at $8 in front of Alrefa and Vauban $13. And looking at the Caulfield Cup market, it was one hell of a trial, I reckon, by Vauban. So Dilius at $9. I reckon he'll go to a Cox Plate over at Caulfield Cup. I think Vauban's definitely the value at the moment, that Caulfield Cup, $15. I reckon you snap that up right now.
15.
Yeah. So I reckon that's the value, Vauban in a Caulfield Cup at $15. Always a pleasure, Zachy. Good to see we got the multi up.
Cracker, 1,500 or more than 1,500 customers took that. And if you're ever going to do it, please do it as soon as we go up.
Yeah.
So going forward, I think we're doing it Friday mornings. So the price is always a lot better then.
It lasted $11, lasted about 20 minutes before it, I don't know what it SP'd at the start of when the first league started, but it's the best value that you can get. So if you're only going to have, I think, whatever you can have on it, but if that's the only bet for the day and you're looking for value, you'd be well and truly up if you followed that weekend preview multi, because you're just getting better odds basically. So
100%. They're the best odds you'll get for a top 4 multi going around.
Beautiful. Thanks, mate.
Cool. Talk soon. Thanks, Gareth.
Great to catch up with Zach Tunbridge. We'll take a break. We'll come back. In fact, we've got the news. We'll come back with plenty more straight after this.
Powered Powered by Signet, making SEN News headlines. Convicted mushroom cook killer Erin Patterson will spend the next 33 years behind bars for the murders of 3 family members. She'll be 81 when she's eligible for parole. She has until October 6 to appeal. The opposition on a charm offensive to win back migrant voters after Senator Jacinta Price's comments regarding Indian migrants being allowed into Australia to boost votes for the coalition. And Aussie passengers are being encouraged to have their say on a scheme that could see minimum compensation for delayed and cancelled flights. Coming up next, sen.com.au sport. We have a new world number 1 tennis player after Carlos Alcaraz won the US Open this morning, downing Yannick Sinner 3-1. It's the Spaniard's second Flushing Meadows trophy and 6th major title. And St Kilda's off-season recruiting spree continues. Giants defender Leek Alir is reportedly poised to request a trade to the Saints.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Great to have your company wherever you may be listening on your local RSN or SEN Track dials or on our apps, the SEN app and also, of course, the RSN app. It's great to catch up now with Sam Fairgrave, of course, the Chief Operating Officer at Yulong, after the news broke this morning that Treasure the Moment, the superstar mare, had a mild bout of colic this morning. She's been at the vet, so for an update on this superstar galloper, Sam joins us now. Sam, thanks very much for getting in contact with us and having a chat regarding Treasure the Moment, mate. How is she?
Morning, Gareth. At this stage, all going well. It was only a mild case, but obviously you want to take all precautions with a mare like her. So she's looks like she's over it and heading in the right directions. But we just continue to monitor her closely.
So what's the process now? Does she stay at the vets all day or overnight before she comes back to Matty Laurie stable?
So reassess this afternoon and, just monitor, how she's going. But, the last update was, very positive, that she was, bright and back to her, to her old self. So, fingers crossed she keeps heading the right direction.
I guess that's a relief in because it can be a terrible thing, colic.
Yeah, definitely. There's all forms of it, and Matt and the team were onto it very quickly, and obviously the vets give her all the care that she needs. So hopefully she's back on track.
What's the chance that we see her back this spring?
I'd say fairly high. Because it was only so very mild. Obviously this weekend is out, but Matt will get it back to the stable and then just ease her along and then sort of set a new plan for her. Obviously Cox Plate may be in doubt.
Okay.
But it just depends on how she responds and she'll be. She'll tell us, what she wants to do.
I guess because of her brilliance, there's so many other options for her if you can't get enough Ks in her leg for a Cox Plate. There's the Empire Rose during that Flemington Carnival, I guess the Golden Eagle as well. So there would be a few options for her.
Absolutely, and that's the lucky thing with it is that there is so many options for her, and there's no pressure to. To get her to a race. If Matt's not happy at any point, then we'd be happy to to give her a break and then bring her back in the autumn. But there's large number of options, so we won't have any problem there.
And she is Mr. Zhang's favourite horse, is that right? Because everything that she's been through from the floods, and you were being a major part for Yulong for so long, and that was a scary moment, and she was able to get through that. It was a horse that Mr. Zhang was able to breed as well, so she's a special horse for Yulong.
Definitely, and that's for Mr. Zhang, to have purchased her mother as a yearling and then bring her out to Australia and breed her to Alabama Express, who's the one of the first stallions to stand at Yulong. It's a great thrill for for Mr. Zhang to have a mare like that, and as you say, she's dodged a few bullets early on in her career, but she's certainly exciting for us in the next couple of racing seasons because she's still developing and getting better.
You had to change Via's plans because you didn't want to clash with Treasure of the Moment and Maccabi Diva. I saw the nominations didn't close to 12 o'clock. Have you had a chance to talk to Chris, and would you consider changing your plans again with Via and get it to Melbourne for Maccabi Diva with no Treasure of the Moment now this Saturday?
Yeah, we'll leave that up to Chris. Chris, is aware, of the situation, and he's going to weigh up his thoughts on what to do. But we'll leave that with Chris because he knows the there and what's the best thing for her and getting her to the next.
You must have been pleased with Angel Capital's return there at the track at Moonee Valley on Saturday.
Oh, he was fantastic. It was very. Very, very good to see him back in that form and looking so well. It was, obviously, Brisbane was a bit frustrating with, the tracks and not getting to run there. But, in hindsight now, it's probably been a good thing because he's obviously, really strengthened and developed. And, it was a great performance on Saturday.
And what a beautiful looking colt he is as well.
Yeah, I mean, for a stallion prospect, he certainly attracted plenty of attention just on looks, let alone his performance. So, and we'll just see where next start would either be Sir Rupert Clarke or the Manicato, and it'll likely depend on barriers, sort of thing where he'd run. But I'd say likely the Rupert Clarke, all going well, but Chris will make that decision.
It's a good spot to be anyway. Yulong are flying, mate. We appreciate your time. I know that you can have a lot of highs and lows in racing, and it's just good news that we would have loved to see her, of course, Treasure of the Moment, clash with Aliana on Saturday in the Maccabi Diva, but it's great news that she's okay, mate, and she'll be okay. So we wish her the best of luck with her going forward, and well done on another big weekend, and we do really appreciate your time to deliver the news to us this morning here on Giddy Up.
Thanks very much, Gareth.
He's a good man, Sam Fairgrave, the Chief Operating Officer there at Yulong. So the update there is that she's okay. She'll go back home hopefully this afternoon to Matty Laurie Stable, and then they'll have to make a decision if they push on, if they can find a suitable race for her for the rest of the spring. But missing the Maccabi Diva means it's probably looking unlikely rather than likely that she'll be competing in a Cox Plate. But hopefully we get to see her again this spring. We'll take a break. We'll come back with plenty more. This is Giddy Up on this Monday morning.
Sportsbet Caulfield Cup Carnival. Grab your pre-sale tickets from just $30 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. It's 11:46. Time to look back at some of the horses that we need to black book from that meeting in Adelaide on Saturday. Mitchy Lewis joins us now. G'day, Mitchy.
Morning, G. How are you this morning?
Good, thank you, mate. What are the horses that we need to be following from that Adelaide meeting on Saturday?
Yeah, look, it was an interesting sort of meeting. What I've sort of got is a couple that I'd put in a forgive file and just hope second up they might be able to improve. So out of race 4, horse number 4, Streetcar Fury, who you messaged me about Saturday, might have had every chance to beat Madame Jeanette there. I thought they were the two in the race, but just raced really green. He's a lightly raced horse, and I think there's a bit of opinion for him. So I'm happy to forgive him for that one run and give him a second chance. And then in the last, which was my best bet, Synchro. This horse missed the kick a little bit and had to get really pushed up to find a leading position because it just over-raced a touch. She's much better than that performance. She faded late, which she was probably inclined to do so. So I'm just going to put those two in a forgive file, and I would expect in the parks in 2 weeks' time we see them again.
Beautiful. Anything else, mate, that we need to be following?
Oh, look, the horse to follow I thought was a great story, G. The winner of race 5, Caracassu for Cody Reardon. This is an ex-Richard and Chantel Jolly horse. We sort of missed a trick here. I thought he'd run well around the 20s and he snuck out to 40s under the radar. Look, 18 months ago, he went around in the Goodwood behind Benedetta and at the start of this year he was 4th in a listed race. So he turned out here second run for the new stable and got the cash. So great training performance there from Cody Reardon. So I thought he was the story in the race, the run of the meeting.
Beautiful, mate. Do you like anything at the Valley there from Saturday?
Look, I thought one, Kings Valley maybe, just with that little bit of wind. I thought the horse was ready to go and he looked like he was really travelling, but might have done a power of work if that wind was playing havoc, as some suggested. So that's probably one I'm just having a look at that maybe turns up again third up we can follow.
Good on you, Mitchy. Thanks for that, mate.
Thanks, mate. Have a good day.
There's Mitchy Lewis looking back at some of his black bookers there from Adelaide on Saturday. Peter Anthers will join me straight after this break here on Giddy Up to go through some horses that we need to be following from Perth.
Experience the SEN Track Deck Saturday, September 20 at the SEN Caulfield Underwood Stakes. Tickets $75 at Ticketek.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Pete Anthony joins us once again here to look back at Belmont on Saturday. It was an interesting meeting in the West. G'day, Pete.
Yeah, g'day, Gareth.
What'd you make of that card there in WA on Saturday?
Yeah, it was a bit of a tricky meeting to work out what was happening early on. Corn Cob winning by the best part of 5 lengths on a heavy deck, settling rails and run was of interest and sort of set up the flags a bit, and then Beats of War, King Adviso and Cool Memory pretty much did the same thing as well. For the right horses that could set and capitalise off the right tempo, they were very difficult to catch just kicking into the straight. But then going against that, Silver Eye came from last over the 1,000 metres in a slow tempo race, which you don't see very often there at Belmont. Odinaka was back and wide, and so was Jelly Can Run. But I'll note the last two, they're both pretty much, they're real wet track types. So, look, really difficult day to try and work out. Look, I thought the performance, and not just saying because I backed it, but Silver Eye looked like that horse is right back in the zone. The last 200 metres was excellent, and I don't think many people, and myself included, watching the race, expected Silver Eye to pick up Immortal Bliss and go not just past it, but really put a space on it late. So that's probably one of the performances of the day to follow. And look, Cool Memory, the market was all over that runner in the Farnley, just was relentless cash for this money, for this horse late, and really did put a dent in them. Look, I'm not sure exactly how well some of these rivals are going, but I know Darren McAuliffe has said for a while that Cool Memory thought would be a lightweight railway chance, and that's, the horse keeps improving. So look, we'll just take it one meeting at a time, but there was certainly a couple of nice performances here on Saturday.
Good to see Pikey back riding there in WA, albeit just having a look. I don't think he rode a winner there on the weekend. No, he didn't.
No.
No.
So, look, I'm sure he's just, he's not necessarily still in holiday mode, surely.
No.
He's back, obviously, ready to go. But, look, it's just one of those days where I don't think William Pike's riding style necessarily would have been suited by some of these races. So I guess you have to just put that together. We're all hoping for some fine weather finally to hit Perth consistently. But I don't know if it's going to be this week, Gareth. The early forecast, again, is for some rain over the weekend. So, we just really need a bit of dry weather there in WA.
Just a couple of questions. Generosity obviously sold to New Connections after being with Simon Miller. She was unlucky there in a Concord. How good do you think she can be?
Look, I think she's never really shown her full potential in terms of, what she's been able to win. But I don't think you can, discount her on some of her performances. She's been a very good performed mare for a while now. So, look, that's obviously a really nice race. We were talking about Headwall and, Lady Shenandoah this morning, and we were really quite effusive in our praise for those runners. But, look, Generosity placement's probably going to be key, but she's got a really nice race in her based off that first up performance. I thought that was excellent.
Yeah. Looking forward. I think there's a nice race in her. There's no doubt about that. And Treasure of the Moment, unfortunately, there's a lot can happen. And this morning after we had a chat to you and Gator that she's just got a mild bout of colic, but it was great to catch up with Sam Fairgrave. She'll be okay, which is terrific news. But the Cox Plate might be unlikely now. And I guess the decision now for Chris Waller, does he change his mind and go back to the original plan with Via Sistina?
Well, yeah, exactly
and
right.
Look, yeah, and he's aware of that, so I guess he's got to make that decision.
I mean, it'll be great for me. I'm not going to lie. It's already a nice little meeting coming up this weekend at Flemington, and I would love to get my eyes on Via Sistina before Cox Plate Day. But look, racing spring, there's plenty going on. You're obviously the best in the business, G-Man. We're going to be just waiting on your tweets and the radio calls and the latest news every single morning.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there, but we might have to wait for Chris's social media review or preview, which will be tomorrow. But I guess we'll find out a little bit more when the nominations close. Good on you, mate. Thanks for that.
Pleasure.
There's Peter Anthony. It's there. Hi, Gareth, Gator, and Peter. This is Michael. He's won the $100 Ribera's voucher in Port Melbourne, the best seafood restaurant in Melbourne, for this text message today regarding the performance of the week. Something a little bit left field. My performance of the week is a bit of a Broadway Mildura. Sean Matherick and Liam Reardon combining with 4 winners on the day from a 7-race card. So great to see Sean Matherick getting some success. He's one of the great characters in racing. Good on you, Michael. Well done, mate. So you can take home that $100 Ribera's voucher there for the performance of the week. I think James McDonald will join me tomorrow to kick off proceedings regarding his ride in the Maccabi Diva. So looking forward to catching up with James tomorrow. We'll have the Bet365 Country Racing Hour and all of the news after a busy morning here this morning on Giddy Up. Now, a big afternoon coming up on SEN Track. We've got Cam Luke will be joining Campbell Brown. And in the afternoon on RSN this afternoon, Johnny Henry's on holidays. I think it's Patrick Doyle in the afternoons on RSN. So great to catch up with Patrick. So he'll be joining the team straight after the 12 o'clock news. But thanks for your company. If you miss any of our interviews or segments, all you need to do is subscribe to Giddy Up with Gareth Hall with your local podcast subscriber. Thanks for your company. I'll catch you again tomorrow morning.